Okay, so I think we're live. It is, sorry I'm late. It's 1:10 in the morning. It's actually 8:10, 2025. Hey buddy, what's going on? Sweet dude Chibi's in here. We got Paula Fitzhenry's in here. We got Peggy O. Hey Peggy O, how are you? Good to see you. I'm in here. Look at that. Look at that. Got Mino Dino's in there. Hey buddy, how's it going? Dandy Lioness is here. Hey Dandy, good to see you. It's always good to see Dandy in here. Yeah, I'm a little late. I've been doing some chores around the house and shit. FarQ's in here. Hey, FarQ, good to see you. Oh, good to see so many faces in here. It's always good to see Dandy and FarQ. That's awesome. All right, so quick shout out to Dirty Diana. I was on the other yesterday morning actually, with Paradox. Charles was on there, Dee Dee was on there. It was an awesome. Rhonda Holton is here. Hey Rhonda, how are you? Good to see you. So that was awesome. Enjoyed it. I just had to go to bed. It was getting to be late. But it was an awesome live and really enjoyed that. Hopefully we can catch up again soon. Hey Carol, how are you? Good to see you. All right, we're gonna go over the true crime cases of the week. I want to do Barbara Cotton 2 here. What else? We got the missing person case of the week, and we'll do the regular true crime shit and whatever else comes up. But it's good to see everybody be on the lookout. No reason. It's too funny. All right, let me play. I'll play an intro and I'll be right back. Let me get rid of my face here. There we go. Hold on a second. What am I doing? Hope everybody's had a good week. Hope everybody's doing well. Let me play my intro and I'll be right back. Be right back. Okay, yep. I'll give Rhonda a wrench very soon here. Southern Gal's here. Hey, Southern Gal, good to see you. Again, I mean, I cannot emphasize on how great Southern Gal is. I mean, she does a tremendous job. I kind of stopped by before I went and got my coffee in her live tonight, but I knew I was going to be driving, so I didn't bother saying hi, but I was in there. She just does tremendous work. Heather's in here too. Heather's amazing. I have Heather's GoFundMe thing going across the bottom of the screen here. Heather's not feeling all that well, so we got a GoFundMe for her. I think Kira did that. But I got my brakes fixed tonight. That's why I'm a little late. Nothing goes easy for me. So Barbara's here too. Where's Barbara? Yes, I'll give you a wrench and give me 2 seconds here. It's good to see Gretchen in the house. Gretchen is here. Barbara Hall is here. There's Barbara right there. What else? What was I just saying? Oh, anyways, it's I'm outside and it's not freezing cold out, so that's good news. But it's going to be in the 90s here again this week, and I'm freaking loving it. It's absolutely awesome. This can't be happening. It's just great. There's Heather's GoFundMe there from Dino. Thank you, Dino, for doing that. Oh, you're welcome. Heather's amazing. Heather's I hope you're feeling better today than you were this morning. Breaks are for Canadians. That's too funny. All right, what are we doing? All right. I don't know if you guys have ever seen any of these music reaction videos, but they're freaking awesome. They're really funny. Tricks are for Americans. That's too funny. The good news is the fires, the smoke is kind of gone for a little while here, so that's good news. But I got to figure out what we're doing. All right, so what are we going to do first? Let's go all the way back to this. I want to. I do want to get into this here because this came up. This is about the Devil's Den guy, and they're trying to link him to a bizarre case over here in Vermont. So give me 2 seconds while I pull this up here. Hold on to see. What am I doing? Right here. Okay. They keep changing the bottom of this thing on me here. So anyways, this guy here, remember this guy was running around, I think it was Arkansas. Was this Arkansas? Hold on a second. So police in Arkansas are investigating Andrew McCann, an elementary school teacher accused of unaliving. Remember the couple up there on that trail there? Well, they caught him, and he unalived the parents of these two daughters here. But they're seeing if he's linked to this other. I'll pull this up too when they start talking about it. But Vermont State Police have reached out to determine whether McGann could be connected to the unsolved 2023 unaliving of a 77-year-old. I think her name is Honoree Fleming, whose suspect description shares similarities to this other case. So let's get into this here. This is I believe this is the sketch here that they had. I'll pull up that case anyways, but give me a minute. Then I got to give Rhonda a wrench. So hold on. So we'll play this here.
Who police say killed a woman on a hiking trail in 2023, states away. State police in Vermont say they have reached out to police in Arkansas to see if there is any connection between the suspect who was just arrested for double murder in Devil's Den State Park and a case that Vermont police have been investigating since 2023. And just wait until you hear the suspect description in that cold case out of Vermont. It may get you thinking. We're on the case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. When police in Arkansas arrested Andrew James McGann for allegedly killing a mom and dad who were on a hike with their daughters in Devil's Den State Park, they said based off of where he had lived over the last couple of years, it's possible other agencies would be reaching out to see if he has any connection to unsolved cases. McGann lived in Arkansas, in Texas, and Oklahoma all since 2022. He grew up in Illinois. He's an elementary school teacher by trade, but was hired by 5 different school districts just in the last 3 years, which is very odd for someone who is a teacher. Now he's in jail in Arkansas, accused of...
All right, let me know if that worked. I think I just gave Rhonda a wrench. And if anybody else wants a wrench, let me know. Yeah, this is a strange guy here for sure. All right, so sorry.
stabbing and killing a mom and dad who were out for a hike in Devil's Den State Park with their 7 and 9-year-old daughters. Now, you might remember, before McGann was arrested at a barbershop recently in Springdale, Arkansas, less than 5 minutes into his haircut, we had images like this one, at least search for a suspect. This is a picture that a witness took of a person of interest in the Arkansas murders from behind. We believe this is Andrew James McGann. That person of interest at the time was described as being a medium-built white man who was wearing a long-sleeve shirt, had fingerless gloves on, was wearing a hat, and had sunglasses on at the time he allegedly killed that mom and dad with a knife.
Okay, I'm glad it worked, Rhonda. Let me know if anybody else wants to wrench. Luis Cuevas is in here. It's always good to see Luis in here. I can't believe Dandy Linus is in here. That's awesome. And Farqu's in here too. That's great, but I never sent you a letter. That's too funny. It's always good to see everybody in here. All right, so let's go with this here.
He also had a black backpack on, which I want you to remember that part for when we talk about this case out of Vermont. We also had this sketch out of Arkansas showing the person who police say witness saw leaving the park with blood on their face, getting into a black sedan and speeding off. Now, McGann's victims, allegedly in Arkansas, this couple, Kristen and Clinton Brink. They had just moved to Arkansas. Clinton was planning to start a new job the following Monday as a milk delivery driver. Police say McGann attacked the dad, Clinton first with a knife, Kristen, the mom, rushing the 7 and 9-year-old girls who were with them to safety. But then she returned to try to help her husband, and she lost her life. Family members, law enforcement, the people who knew them say Clinton and Kristen Brink died, heroes, and we should never forget that. It's a case that shocked people across the country. How could a quiet trail in a state park become the scene of such a brutal crime? That's the same question that police in Castleton, Vermont have been asking since October 5th, 2023. It was on the Delaware and Hudson Rail Trail, also known as the D&H Rail Trail, located in southwest.
It's Fur Baby Daddy. Good to see you. Just trying to keep up with the chat here. What letter are you? I'm dead serious. What? I don't know. Isn't there a song called "Send a Letter" or something like that? Oh, the catwalk. All right. Sorry, just trying to keep up with the chat. Good to see Barbara in here, though. Fur Baby Daddy. All right, I'm gonna have to look into this case here. Hold on a second. Hold on one second here. Let me get out of here for a second. Okay, so this is coming from News 10 in Boston, I think. So Fleming, 77, died of a gunshot wound to the head while walking along the trail in the afternoon. What trail is that? That's a picture of her there. I'll have to figure out the trail here. I don't know what trail. The previously released sketch of the person of interest who wasn't mentioned in Thursday's police statement was based on a man that witnesses on the trail before they came across her body. He's being described as a 5'10" male in his 20s with short red hair and was wearing a dark gray t-shirt and carrying the black backpack here. But doesn't everybody that go on trails kind of carry a backpack? And I would almost guarantee you that a good 30-40% of them are black. And was considered armed and dangerous. Police said witnesses reported that the man was acting odd, and more than one person observed him. This was October 5th, 2023, the afternoon. They didn't know if the shooting was random or targeted and advised the public to remain vigilant. So this was back in 2023. So, but according to Vermont State Police, they're not they're not really worried about this guy. The recent killings of two parents on the trail of Arkansas sparked renewed interest in the unsolved fatal shooting. Retired college on a Vermont recreation trail. Which one? Vermont police said Thursday addressed speculation over a possible connection between that guy and this crime here, for which James Andrew McGann was arrested. Okay, so right here it says, however, they said there remain no known link between McGann and either Fleming's killing or Vermont in general. Noted that reaching out to police agencies to discuss similar cases is a common investigator. I don't know, it's weird. All right, well, we'll keep watching this anyways. Hold on one second. That doesn't make any sense. Why would they say that and then not say that?
Western Vermont, that Honore Fleming lost her life. Fleming was 77 years.
Hold on a second here. Trying to find this trail here.
Honore Fleming lost her life. Fleming was 77 years old. She was married to her husband for 47 years.
Whoops.
They raised a son together. Fleming previously was the Dean of Education at a college now known as Vermont State University in the town of Castleton, not far from the New York line. Police say
Castleton. Is that what he just said? Castleton.
On October 3rd.
It's right there, Dave. D&H Rail Trail. Okay.
2023 around 4 p.m. Fleming entered the D&H Rail Trail. At 4:30, police say she was found dead. They say her cause of death was a gunshot wound to the head. Not only did the authorities have Fleming's body, they say they had a description of a person of interest. And this is the sketch that Vermont State Police put out almost 2 years ago. They also put out a description from witnesses who say that the person of interest was described as a white male standing 5'10", having short red hair, and he was wearing a dark gray t-shirt and carrying a black backpack. Now listen, on one hand, that is a description that could fit a lot of people. But on the other hand, it does sound similar to Andrew James McGann, and we should not dismiss that. This week, Vermont State Police said that they reached out to police in Arkansas to explore if there is any link between Honore.
Dirty Diana's in here. Where is she? Where'd she go? If you're here, hi, Dirty Diana. Thanks for letting me come on. You're live this morning, yesterday morning. There you are, right there. Okay, good to see you. That was awesome. That was really good. And I didn't freak out. So there's that. Paradox was awesome anyways. I like the guy. He's a good guy. Did anyone else get a letter from me? For the record, I don't send letters and I haven't brought it. That's weird, right? For the record, I don't send letters and I haven't bought any stamps in years. I don't even know how much postage. It's like $5 to mail a letter, I think. That is a little strange. Yes, Barbara Hall is awesome. Dirty Diana's awesome. Everybody's got really good channels in here, really great channels. Paula's in here somewhere too. She just recently reached 1,000 subscribers, so that's good for her. Peggy O's in here too. And feel free to throw, you guys are renters, so feel free to throw all your links in here. All right, enough talking.
Fleming's death and what happened to the Brink family in Devil's Den State Park in Arkansas. They say this is a routine step for detectives, and they say there is no known connection between the cases at this time. But law enforcement is piecing together the places where Andrew McGann has lived in recent years. You
can send me a letter. I wouldn't mind. I haven't gotten a letter in a long time. Dirty Diana, I'm a lot better now. My best friend died 2.5 months ago. I wasn't around much. That's awful. That's terrible. It is good to see you though, FarQ. Sorry that happened. That's awful. People forget that even though we do lives and stuff like that, people have their own personal stuff, personal lives, and but it's good to see you for sure. It's always good to see Fark you in here. Did you get my restraining? No, I thought that was a retraining order. How people send Christmas cards these days? I don't think it's $5, but it's up there. It's $5 American and like $2 Canadian, I think. Anyways, yes, sorry for your friend. Big Fish is in here. Good to see Big Fish. Yes, it's good to see you for sure. Good to see Gretchen in here. I think I forgot to say good night last week to Gretchen, and I feel bad for that, but I'm gonna say it now. All right. Talking a lot tonight. What the hell's wrong with me?
Found that he was hired by 5 different school
This guy's a little goofy looking.
districts just since 2022. He was going to be teaching elementary school children this year in Springdale, Arkansas, in the public school system, had he not been arrested for murder. Last year, he taught outside Tulsa, Oklahoma for 1 year. He started the school year outside Dallas in Plano, but he left that job after only 4 days, and it's unclear why. He has been accused by parents of acting inappropriately to students when he was a teacher in 2022 at an elementary school in Flower Mound, Texas, also outside Dallas.
Well, this guy's been around. How do they not pick up on that? How do they not know this stuff? This is so weird. $5 is worth 75 cents. Yeah, he's a little he's been around though. Hello, my name is Andrew McGann. I'm very excited, I bet you are, to join the Dolphin family in 4th grade. They had this guy around kids.
This mom went public, saying that he was inappropriate to young girls in his class. Another family from that school told the New York Post that McGann put a little girl on his lap and allegedly said things like, quote, "I wish I could date you. I wish you could be my girlfriend."
Oh my God. How does this not, I mean, wow. They knew, they chose to ignore it. Who thought that was a good idea? Exactly. This is kind of disturbing here.
As a parent, you read that and it just gives you the ick. I mean, yikes. Now, this mom went on Facebook saying that McGann would allegedly bring candy and soda to class. But
this sick individual taught 4th grade at Sawyer School when he was in the 4th grade. He was occasionally in the guys' class on Fridays. S told me during the year that McGann gave candy away and brought Sonic drinks to class, but only for girls. How does nobody know that? How does nobody see that? And I thought that was super bizarre. Then he heard from other kids that Andrew McGann hosted lunchtime in his classroom for special. What? Wow. He also mentioned how often McGann played tag with girls during
but would only give it to girls. She also claims that McGann would hold lunch for, quote, special girls. That mom also said that he would be praised for being liked by students for having charisma, which could point to how he was able to move from school to school, continuously being hired over several years, though he was leaving job after job. The Texas school district, where parents are accusing McGann of that inappropriate behavior, say their investigation into him didn't find evidence of inappropriate behavior, but they say he was suspended for concern.
This is just awful. This is it's strange how nobody picked up on this. This is bizarre.
It's related to classroom management, professional judgment, and student favoritism.
And you are Andrew James McGann.
McGann made his first court appearance in Arkansas. He has yet to enter a plea.
Look at how small this courtroom is. This is weird. It's just a wall, and then, I mean, this is bizarre how small this courtroom is. I mean, he's like right there. He could easily leap over this thing.
first court appearance in Arkansas. He has yet to enter a plea. Prosecutors have hinted that they will go for the death penalty in their case against him.
This case certainly has the aggravators that exist where a jury should get to decide what the punishment for this defendant is my intention to pose that to a jury.
Police in Arkansas say they have DNA from McGann that ties him to the murders of the Brinks. It's unclear if there's any DNA that could help in the Vermont investigation in whether tying McGann to that case or ruling him out as a potential killer. Arkansas police have also hinted that McGann has confessed to them that he is responsible for what happened in Del.
Hi, sweetie. What are you doing out? My wife's in here. Hi, Heather. I should give you a wrench. Do you have a wrench? Yeah, you do. You got a wrench. Good to see you. Yeah, this guy is really weird. You can't sleep. It's strange how, have you heard anything about this case? Strange how this guy got a job as a teacher.
Devil's Den State Park, but they didn't go further into what he actually said. As far as the search for the killer of Honore Fleming in Vermont, there is a $25,000 reward for information leading to bringing someone to justice. Vermont State Police have also launched a place to send tips. Here's that information on your screen. Joining us now to talk more about this, a cold case expert, Joe Kennedy, a retired special agent with the Naval Criminal Investigative Service. Thank you for taking the time to be with us on Law and Crime. When you look at these two cases, what we've been talking about in Arkansas and then this unsolved case from 2023 in Vermont, what are some of the similarities that stick out to you?
Okay. Dino got detention and had to stay at Mr. Field's house overnight. That's too funny. It would be freaky if he posed. Yeah. Yeah, this guy's crazy. So this is Heather here is upstairs right now. She's my better half for sure. And hey, Amy G, how are you? Good to see you. And that's Barbara Hall. All right. So what am I doing? Here we go. Who is this guy? I missed it now.
Joining us now to talk more about this, a cold case expert, Joe Kennedy, a retired special agent with the Naval Criminal Investigative Service. Thank you for taking the.
All right, so hold on, give me 2 seconds. I want to yeah, I got to join you live. Amy G's got a great channel too. Let me know if you want a wrench, Amy G. That way you can put your channel in here. I've been catching a couple of your lives. She does great work with the Delphi case. I think we got 2 people in here now from Australia, Amy and Farq. But let me know if you want a wrench. So hold on a second. I finally got this on the map here. So this is a bad, I'll find it on a better map, but okay, so here's Vermont, this is Rutland here, so this is almost into New York here. So this is the trail, this is the Delaware Hudson Rail Trail here, so this is it here in like real life here. It's a beautiful trail, looks like. This is Western Vermont though. So this is where this other lady, Honore Fleming, was found here along one of these trails here. But this is so it's 19.8 miles gravel dirt, 4 seasons also. You can travel this. This looks like a pretty good trail here. But it goes all the way from Fairhaven all the way down to East Rupert. So so that's where we are. So I just wanted to show you that. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me get back to this here. All right, I'll get you a wrench really soon here. I got too many windows open.
The time to be with us on law and crime. When you look at these two cases, what we've been talking about in Arkansas and then this unsolved case from 2023 in Vermont, what are some of the similarities that stick out to you?
Well, Chris, I think we first have to start with the geography. Both of these scenes would be, somewhat isolated in nature. These are not urban areas. They're more rural, so you're not going to have as many people out traveling about. You're also going to have, fewer surveillance cameras, fewer surveillance cell towers. So I would say the thing that jumps out at me initially is just that both of these locations are somewhat in a rural environment, or at least are a remote location.
Yeah, very quiet places too, where people go for hikes and for walks, like the victims were in both of these cases. One difference that I noticed in both of them, it's maybe not noticed, but it's very clear, is in the case out of Arkansas, you have two victims who police say were stabbed to death. And then in the case of Honore Fleming in Castleton, Vermont, her cause of death was a gunshot to the head. When looking at possible links between these two cases, does the manner of death, how much does that matter in figuring out whether there is a connection?
Yeah, one of the things we're always looking for, Chris, is what we refer to as the instrument or the agent of death, right? And typically when folks kill someone,
All right, so I think I got Amy G a wrench. Let me know if that worked. We used to walk all the time, me and the fam. We used to go on trails all the time. But it is, if you're out there by yourself, it's probably not the greatest thing to be doing. All right, so let's see.
shoot them, we stab.
This guy looks a little like Rick Snay with white hair.
Them, we use a ligature to strangle them, or blunt force trauma. That's the typical 4 instruments or agents of death. So we certainly have different weapons used at each scene. So that would be something that would be an inconsistency that they might be linked.
And when you look at these cases, and the description in both cases it's very similar. He's a medium-sized white male. In the mugshot that Andrew McGahn has, he has blonde hair, but you can see that it could be seen as short and red hair, like in the Vermont case, but also a 5'10" white guy with short red hair could describe a lot of people. How much does those descriptions, the similarities, do you read into that?
Well, we have to be careful with witness testimony, right? Especially if that witness has been traumatized from the event, right? Or,
Does this guy look like the Arkansas suspect? The nose looks pretty good. I wish maybe I can figure out how to do a side by side here.
upset. And if you think about the incident down in Arkansas where the children are left behind, right? Those are interviews that would likely have been done at some type of child advocacy center using child forensic interviewing techniques. And you have to be careful, as you're getting interviews with children too, as to.
Oh my God, don't talk about Lebanese food. Oh my God. I would literally do just about anything for some Lebanese food right now. Oh my God. Oh. Where the hell is my mother when I need her?
To what's related, and is that accurately interpreted from the interviewer? Witnesses, sometimes they can be extremely reliable, Chris, and sometimes, because of the event and their vantage point, are they seeing it?
Quick story. This was a good 10 years ago. No, it had to be longer than that. We were still living in Sunapee then. So my mom was up. My mom is, I don't know, she's probably like 50% Lebanese. We're a little Lebanese too, but she came up to make Lebanese food. And there was a question of what time she was getting here. So we were all getting hungry. So I decided to take the family out for pizza. So we basically got 3 feet into the door for the pizza. And my sister texted me on the phone saying, Lebanese food is being cooked. So I just basically told everybody, all right, out, let's go. We're leaving now. We're going to go get Lebanese food. Um, it's so wonderful. Oh, it's just so wonderful. Grape leaves, fattoush, tabbouleh, Syrian bread. Uh, ah.
Is their view obstructed in any way to where they might not have been or just saw someone for a short
Doesn't this guy look like Rick Snay?
period of time? So these are all the things that we would be questioning and trying to come up with is, how long did they see the individual, and then how accurate is that description actually?
Vermont is a state that does not see a lot of crime, especially like this case of a woman who just goes out for a hike. She had entered the trail.
Heather loves hummus. Yeah, not date night food, that's for sure. I can't stand hummus. I don't know why. Basically, the only thing Jewish that I do like is lentil soup. Lentil soup is technically a Jewish. Doesn't he look like him a little bit? Looks just like Rick Snay.
In Castleton, Vermont, at 4:00 in the afternoon, and she was found dead with a gunshot wound to her head at 4:30.
I missed Rick's chat tonight because I was fixing the brakes on my car.
And you have a witness or in multiple witnesses.
That I don't even know anything about this case at all. And it's right over here in Vermont, so I have no idea.
Witnesses were able to describe this person.
She's got beautiful eyes, though.
But they haven't been arrested since 2023. What are the things that stand out to you in her case as it's still unsolved at this point?
Well, the first thing that we start with a cold case, Chris, is victimology, right? And that includes her travel patterns for that day. Where was she supposed to have been? Did she arrive at certain locations on time? Was there any delays? In addition to the victimology, what we're looking for, a lot of times people will.
Right. We were fixing brakes, correct.
Start looking at the past of a victim and go backwards. What we like to look at from a cold case perspective is what we refer to as futuristic events. Had she not been killed at somewhere between 4 and 4:30, where would she be 4, 5, 6, 7 hours into the future? So sometimes those futuristic events or appointments or where she was necessarily supposed to be could shield some clues to us as to who could possibly be responsible for her murder.
Going back to the manner of death, and just a terrifying part of what happened in Arkansas was police say, and it's terrifying no matter how it happens, but there was no link, police say, between Andrew McGann and the Brink family, who they were just going out for a hike in Devil's Den State Park. But when you look at Honore Fleming's case, and it was
okay, so this is normal. Right? Like brakes are easy. Just need a tool to compress the caliper, right? I get that. Nothing is ever easy with me. There's no such thing as easy. The simplest things sometimes are the hardest freaking things to do.
Single gunshot wound to the head. Does that, as someone who looks at these types of cases, do you feel like this could have been a targeted attack on her when you think of just how she died?
Yes, Heather got greasy too. Thank you so much, Heather. Heather Brown, Hebby. Like I said, I got Heather's GoFundMe scrolling across the bottom here. She's not... yeah, I could literally like this. I was trying to take the bolt out of the caliper, and I don't know how long it took me to figure out I was, tightening it instead of loosening it. So yeah, It's bad. It's just bad. These are easy though. These breaks are much easier than they were years ago.
Well, without seeing the scene, that's a tough question to ask. I will say this, someone would have to know her routine, right? Someone had to know she was going to that park that day, unless it was
It is kind of strange that she was in the education business too, though. That is really strange.
some random encounter. And when we talk about random encounters, that's a small percentage of crime. Stranger on stranger crimes, they happen, but they're not that frequent. About 9 out of 10 murders, Chris, there's some type of prior relationship. So when we see a person who's supposed to be at a certain location and then they're killed, the agent of death or the instrument of death, that could vary. Just because the gun's used, that doesn't really give us a lot of insights into the perpetrator. We would want to know, a lot more about her and her, not only her routine, but, where she was supposed to be that day.
And as someone who works cold cases, and you think of Honore Fleming's family, and they've been waiting for nearly 2 years for answers. There are very well-known cases that have gone on for far longer and have never been solved. Why is it, from what you've seen in your career, that so many cases go unsolved? What is it about a case that can just lead it to go cold?
Well, Chris, there's only 3 ways to solve a murder, right? We have to have some physical evidence: fingerprints, DNA, hair, fibers, footprints, shoe prints, etc. Witnesses solve cases, or we need to get a confession.
Don't forget to leave a quarter. When the caliper bolt is facing towards you, you need to adapt. By the way, Chevy, it's Chevrolet with a T, so it's actually Chevrolet, not Chevrolet. Just to let you know.
Now, interestingly, only about 15% of homicides are solved with physical evidence. About 35% are solved with witness testimony. The problem is the witnesses change their story. They don't show up to testify. They get impeached at trial. So about half of murders, actually, it comes down to the confession, Chris. We have got to get that person to confess.
I do know one thing. There's nothing here, right? Like in this part of Vermont, there's literally nothing. So the chances of there being webcams, trail cams, any type of cameras anywhere along this trail is probably, non-existent.
Confess to us before we solve the case. And unlike what we see on a lot of TV shows, recovering DNA, recovering fingerprints from crime scenes, that's very difficult in many cases. And again, only about 15% of cases are solved with physical evidence. So it runs between those 3 things.
Tracy's here. Hey, Tracy, how are you? Good to see you. Driving, but we'll be listening and we'll chat when able. It's always good to see you, Tracy. Always good to see Tracy in here. If you need to know anything, just ask Tracy. She'll probably know it. She'll probably figure it out for you.
Things, and what you'll find is bystander behavior has significantly changed
So
today.
this is hold on a second. This is so here's Montpelier, Rutland. This is way over here. This is almost like the New York border's right here. So this is there's nothing here.
And what you'll find is bystander behavior has significantly changed today than what it used to be. Folks, don't want to call the police anymore. They don't want to cooperate with the police a lot of times, even in these heinous murders like we're talking about today. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth just to get folks to cooperate. I mean, that's the reality of the situation.
And knowing that witnesses may not want to call police, that the testimony may change, people's brains get foggy, they move on with life. How do you, as an investigator, if you were an investigator today with the Vermont State Police and you have this horrific murder of a woman, Honore Fleming, how do you go about it from today moving forward, knowing that, nearly 2 years has passed since she died?
Well, from a cold case perspective, Chris, what we do is we start all over. And that is from square one, day one. And as we reconstruct that case, we try to identify maybe some clues that were overlooked, right? And I'll tell you this is an interesting fact that we follow a lot, is so few murders are actually planned. And I want you to think about it. Burglaries are planned, break-ins are planned, robberies are planned, sexual assaults are planned, but murders aren't planned for the most part. And so what happens is the perpetrator, they do not expect to get the response from the victim that they receive. In other words, the victim fights back, right? And the victim's response always is what results in their demise. And so we have to look at it and bring that into the equation as we're looking at these old cold cases, is what caused this person to get murdered. And some of the questions we ask is, why was this person a murder victim? You know, why is there?
All right, hold on a second. So this is this guy here. And then here's are they going to show both side by side here, you think? Right there. Okay. So does that look like him a little bit? The eyes are way off. Ears are pretty similar. The nose is definitely similar. But it looks like this whole mouth here and the eyes are just I don't know. You tell me, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this part, like, I don't know, right in here. Miss Shauna, Silly Billy has been camping with her girls. It's always good to see Dandy in here. Miss Shauna, aka Silly Billy, has just been there camping with her girls. Miss Shauna in Vermont. All right, let me get out of here and we'll get back to I think it's close enough. I mean, sketches are not always 100%, but I could see that. All right. A little bit more of this, and I want to move on to something else here. Hold on, give me 2 seconds.
Body here on this particular day, and there's a whole lot of you think about, not only we're looking for physical evidence, but we have to look at crime scenes and read them. Every crime scene will speak to us, right? Because in addition to leaving physical evidence at a crime scene, offenders deposit their personality at crime scenes. And so let's just for an example, let's take the case in Arkansas, right? There's a lot of anger in that crime scene. You know, this is the sharp instrument, and there's in multiple stab wounds. The offender did it in front of witnesses, right? They clearly identify, you know, come up with a composite sketch of him. And I think it's the same way with the case in Vermont, right? You know, is there anger involved in this scene because a witness is able to come up with a composite, right? Or a potential identification. You also see an escalation of assaultive behavior, right? In cases of anger. And there's almost an effort to, you know, humiliate the victim. And then there's a lot of slashing and tearing of the victim. So the Arkansas case, 100% anger. I don't know enough, or I've not seen enough about the Vermont case to say, hey, we've got
these poor people, man. It's so awful. I think the mom actually really tried to. This is not Arkansas, is it? It just sucks. Those poor kids now are left without their parents. It's just absolutely horrible.
Anger at the scene, but certainly doing you know, murders in front of witnesses would fall into that category.
Because the Vermont State Police this week, and kind of how this story came about, was they had said they reached out to police in Arkansas once they saw that Andrew James McGann was arrested, because he does fit the description. And they say that they reach out to a lot of different police departments when there are arrests as they're trying to solve this case. What are the type of questions that an investigator, say from Vermont, would ask an investigator in Arkansas beyond? I mean, clearly both of these incidents happened on hiking trails in quiet places. The suspect description is very similar, but what are some of the other questions that Vermont State Police would have for an investigator in Arkansas?
Well, those questions are going.
Yeah, I think I heard the I mean, you never know what happens in these things, but I heard that the mother pretty much saved the kiddos. Crime scenes tell a story. No shit, Sherlock. Yeah, this funny shit.
Going to revolve around the similarities of the crimes. Are we seeing similar crime patterns here, or is it the same modus operandi? Is the signature component, similar? And a lot of this information, this is stuff that won't be released to the public, but those are some of the questions that those respective state police agencies would be doing. And in addition to that, can they geographically put that individual in both states? Either before, during, or after the murder. That would be, crucial. So you're talking about, debit card transactions, electronic communication.
This guy was arrested while getting his haircut. It's so weird.
Either before, during, or after the murder. That would be, crucial. So you're talking about, debit card transactions, electronic communications, phone, cell towers, all the way up to toll roads, license plate readers. So can we put him in both states? And, it's probably more than anything, Chris, this is just to cover their bases, to make sure they're dotting all their I's, crossing all their T's. And if there's anything really significant, from what I've read, they would have flown some investigators down there. I will tell you, both of those agencies have great reputations for solving, a violent crime, both the Vermont State Police and the Arkansas State Police. Ironically, I'll be down in Arkansas teaching a cold case class September, 3 and 4 in Little Rock.
Oh, well, that's this has been, so top of mind. I mean, even with that, because often you work on cases that reach that.
Just to let you know, it's about 22 hours distance between Vermont and Arkansas. So
that point where they need just that extra, the fresh set of eyes that look on it. The fact that they were able to catch Andrew James McGann, they say that they have him. They say they have DNA on him. They have, he allegedly confessed. They haven't said specific.
I mean, that's just so horrible. That's just so, so she got the girls to safety and then went back to help her husband. And that's when she was on the lot. That's absolutely, 44 Lewinsky's. Yes. Like the school didn't. I mean, I don't know how this guy. Yeah, I don't know how he was getting into all of these jobs. Like, this is weird.
What he told them during the interview, but it seems that they have a very strong case against this guy. Knowing how cases can go cold, and I feel like so often in the public we take for granted how quickly some of these investigations can be. I guess, how impressive is it that Arkansas State Police were able to close this case as quickly as they were?
Well, Chris, I'm not surprised. I have worked with several folks from the Arkansas State Police. We've actually looked at some of their cold cases over the years, and they have a great reputation. They're diligent, they're tenacious, they're persistent. So I'm not surprised at all that they saw. I
mean, hats off to the Arkansas State Police, but I mean, I don't think this guy was the smartest guy in the. He didn't flee. He just went and got his haircut. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I do want to get a lot to cover, so let's go to the missing person case of the week. Schools need to be held responsible for not reporting. I agree with that 100%, Danny. I just don't understand how he was able to just but that's the times we live in, man. They say they do background checks in these people. I just don't believe that if they All right, so I want to go into the missing person case of the week. This is coming from News Nation again with their running missing format here. And this is, I'll pull up the information here soon. So this is the case of the missing 16-year-old Ali Lowitzer. So this week, Marnie Hughes looks into the 2010 disappearance of Ali Lowitzer, a 16-year-old who vanished without a trace after getting off her school bus in Texas. Okay, so Ali had received permission from her mother to walk to work alone for the first time. But she didn't come home later that day. Her parents checked in with her employer, who said Ali never showed up. Despite extensive searches and security camera footage, no one has seen or heard from her since. This has been 15 years. Ali's parents joined News Nation to speak out about the latest developments in the case. So I'll pull up the information on this. So here we go.
Together, we can bring answers to the family and friends of the missing. This week, our featured case takes us to Spring, Texas. A teenage girl vanishes after getting off her school bus. Ali Lowitzer had made a plan with her mom to get off the bus and then walk a stretch of road to her job to pick up her paycheck and then walk back home.
Yeah, so like I said, Heather would know because she's in the school system. Yeah.
You're going to walk straight to work. You're going to text me, let me know that you're there, and you're going to text me and let me know if you're going to work.
Well, that text never came. Joanne Lowitzer came home to an empty house that day and no Ali. That was 15 years ago. Coming up, we're going to take a closer look at the events of that day and talk to both of Ali's parents about the investigation into her disappearance. Before we get to that, I have several other missing cases I want to share with you, starting with a teen found safely. After 20 days, 17-year-old Adriana Bussey has been located and she is safe. Her disappearance on July 17th from Carthage, Missouri, sparked a massive search in her community and surrounding areas. Stacy Bussey says her daughter was found 4 hours away. Carthage police say Adriana voluntarily contacted authorities by the phone and then turned herself in. She, as I said, is safe, and arrangements are now being made to reunite her with her family. Police say this was not an abduction, and at no time was there a threat to the public. They also say the incident was isolated and no criminal activity is suspected. We're just thankful Adriana is home safe.
Yeah, I want to do another one on Emma Baum because I did a couple on her, but I do want to do another one. There's just so many freaking missing kids cases. It's just there's just and Doodlebug, who is another great creator. Her and Arctic do an amazing job. Southern Gal too with the missing. It's just they do such great work on that. But there's just, unfortunately, and it's not just the indigenous population too. There's just too many. It's awful. Can't keep up with them all. There's just too many of them.
Arrest in the case of a missing realtor from Huntsville, Alabama. Ronald Dumas Jr. vanished in December of 2024. His car was found hours away in Memphis, Tennessee. Police now have Kiera Clark in custody, one of 5 suspects wanted in Ronald's disappearance. She's charged with aggravated kidnapping, trafficking for a commercial sex act, assault, and burglary. 4 other people were also arrested in connection with this case, and 3
Guy looks like Marshawn Lynch.
others are still wanted.
Nobody has come forward yet that can point us to where Ronnie is. And, so that's the biggest thing right now is just trying to find that one person or multiple people. Somebody knows where he's at.
This case remains under investigation. We also have an incredible story of survival to share with you after 13-year-old in Missouri vanishes. Dakota Trinkle Jr. was found safe at the bottom of a 240-foot ravine.
Oh, it's awesome. that they found him. That's awesome.
4 days after he went missing. Dakota was out skateboarding at the time when he disappeared. He suffered a traumatic leg injury and he was out there in the elements for 96 hours without food or water. He was then airlifted to the hospital, according to the sheriff, and is now recovering. Good news there. All right, now to this week's featured case. Joanne Lowitzer found us on social media asking for help, desperately trying to get the word out about her missing daughter, Allie.
Hi, my name is Joanne Lowitzer. I live in Spring, Texas, and I joined TikTok.
This is just so absolutely horribly sad. When you hear, the pleas from the mom or the parents of these kids, it's just,
to help spread the word about my missing daughter. Her name is Alexandria. We call her Allie for short.
Allie was 16 years old when she got off the school bus that day.
So this must be the age progression here. They do this now with genealogy, I think. They do this age progression thing. I can't be 100% sure, though, but after getting off a bus.
In Spring, Texas, a suburb north of Houston. 3 witnesses reported seeing her stop at the corner to send a text. She was supposed to walk home from there. Or first,
everything is north of Houston. If you're in Texas, almost everything is north of Houston. There is no, I don't know. It's I'll find that town though.
To get her paycheck at her job and then home. The first time her mom had given her permission to make that walk, but Allie never showed up. At 16, Allie Lowitzer wasn't afraid to take center stage. She loved softball and volleyball, fishing with her family, and being silly with friends. But her real passion was art.
Like one of the peppers from our garden.
Her mom, Joanne, has saved many of Allie's pieces, now a source of pride and pain.
It's been 15 years, and I look at her artwork and I'm like, I still have all of this that she left that still exists. Allie is in every single room in my house.
These are the last images of Allie, taken moments before she got off her school bus, April 26, 2010, at her normal stop in Spring, Texas. Allie had begged.
You did this last night, Southern Cal? In the UP, they found 2 cougar cubs. They haven't been in the area for 100 years. This is heartbreaking. This is awful.
Her mom to let her walk the short distance to her job so she could pick up her paycheck and maybe an extra shift. She'd never walked the busy street before, and Joanne had conditions.
You're going to walk straight to work. You're going to text me, let me know that you're there, and you're going to text me and let me know if you're going to work.
Instead, Joanne came.
Yeah, that ain't happening here. No, it's. And I know you kind of have to sometimes. No, that's not going to happen. I'll be somewhere following closely. All right, so hold on a second. I got the map up. No, the Giovanni Pelletier case. Okay, so this is like I said, everything's north of Houston. Like if you say south of Houston, you're pretty much in the Gulf. So here's Houston. So that's Spring Hill. I mean, not Spring Hill, but Spring, Texas, right there. So let's take a drive. I don't know exactly where it was. I'll probably do a better mapping of this here, but this is kind of the town here. Ugh, I hate these cases. These cases are just, ugh. He was found deceased today. Oh, that sucks.
Home to an empty house and no text.
Just thought, okay, well, she must be busy with work and she can't text me back immediately.
Several more texts and no response.
8 o'clock rolled around, 8:30 rolled around, So finally 8:45, because I knew they closed at 9, I went up there and I was going to tell her what was what, and I pulled up right in front of the doors and all the chairs were on the tables. No one's there.
Panicked, Joanne called police and Allie's father.
Yeah, PJ's awesome too. PJ's amazing. Love when Dave drives on the wrong side of the road. Isn't it great? I'm going to get arrested by Steve one of these days.
Father who lived nearby.
So my thought was, well, she's just being rebellious. She's probably out with somebody, didn't want to tell you.
That changed the next morning.
Allie was the type that she loved to go to school. She didn't want to miss school. That's where all of her friends were. For her to not be there to get ready for school was a huge red flag for me.
The big question, had Allie ever made it to Burger Barn? The owner and
Burger Barn, is that still there, you think? Burger Barn? Spring, Texas? I don't know if that's still there. I don't know if that's there anymore because I just typed it in. I'm not finding it.
several other workers said the same thing.
He said that no, that she didn't show up, that he hadn't seen her.
The school bus would have come from that direction and stopped right here.
Joanne has retraced her daughter's route hundreds of times, where she stopped to text her boyfriend, then turned to walk the short distance out of their development, down the busier quarter-mile stretch to the first intersection and the strip mall where Burger Barn used to be.
Video
Okay, so it's not there anymore. Great.
surveillance was looked for in the area, and there was nothing in the immediate area that would point us in the right direction of which direction she went to or if she left with somebody.
Sheriff's investigators say it wasn't unusual for the restaurant to close early if it wasn't busy.
The owner and the employees who worked there at the time, and even prior employees who worked there, they were all cooperative and cooperated with our investigation.
Months of searching the woods around the neighborhood yielded no clues. Allie's colorful backpack and cell phone gone. Her parents left staring at that stretch of road.
It's a straight shot to the strip center where the Burger Barn was, so you really couldn't get off the beaten path, so to speak. I strongly believe that somebody knew exactly what they were doing, and they did it fast.
A bench at the local park honors Allie's memory, and her birthday, February 3rd, is now recognized as National Missing Persons Day. After 11 years, Joanne finally brought herself to paint over the chalkboard walls of Allie's bedroom. But she treasures her other walls, filled with Allie's art.
My baby did this, and it makes me really proud. On the other hand, it makes me very sad because I literally will daydream about what she would have created if she was still with us.
Joining us now are Allie's parents, Joanne Lowitzer.
All right, hold on a second. Okay, so this is the high school. So this is where she was according to, I'll share this in a second, but according to, Okay, so last known images of Allie were captured by the Spring Hill School surveillance system at approximately 2:25 p.m. leaving the school. So images capture Allie exiting the bus with others 3 houses from her home. So am I sharing this? Yes. Okay. So so this is the school. Yeah, so this is the school. So she must have been, I mean, this place is whoops. I mean, there's a Burger King here. I don't know if that was there. What was it 2015? 2010. So the buses must come in here. No, right here. Okay, hold on a second. I don't think the buses would go in here. Anyways. I mean, I can't be exactly sure what was here, but there's a whole bunch of, there's a strip mall here. Is this the whole school here? Yeah, that's the that must be the football field there. So the buses must come in here, you think? I don't know. All right, let's go back. Actually, hold on a second. Let me get out of this here. So that kind of messes it up a bit. She got on the bus. Okay, so this is the write-up. This is coming from so she disappeared April 26th. Isn't that vacation week? When is vacation week? Vacation week is the last week in April, right? So she disappeared on April 26, 2010 after getting off the school bus and walking to her job. After getting off the school bus and walking to her job to pick up a paycheck. So she didn't go to the work. She went to go pick up a paycheck. She never arrived there and never came home. Few clues have been covered in her case. Okay, so if you know this is the phone number, I should copy that. Morning of April 26, 2010. Ellie found herself rushed as she made her way to the bus stop. Ellie made it to the bus on time and went on to have a typical day at Spring Hill School. At the end of the school day, just prior to leaving campus, Ellie called her mother to discuss walking to her new job at the Burger Barn to pick up a paycheck and possibly work a few hours. After begging her mom, Ellie's mother, Joanne, reluctantly, okay, so she begged her mom to walk. Well, I didn't think she would beg her mom to walk. Joanne reluctantly gave permission to her to walk a quarter of a mile to work. I mean, a quarter of a mile is not that far. The last known images of Allie were captured by Spring Hill School surveillance. Why do I keep saying Spring Hill? Spring High School surveillance system at approximately 2:25. Image captures Allie exiting the bus with others 3 houses from her home. A couple of boys got off the bus at the same time and walked in the direction of their home. They both reported that Allie was lagging behind, nothing out of the ordinary, but texting on. So she had her cell phone. The last eyewitness accounts of Allie's state, she was walking away from her home towards exiting the neighborhood. I wish I knew where that neighborhood was. The last communication recorded was a text message sent to a friend at 2:57. So that's about a half an hour. A reasonable assumption would be that 10 minutes of casual walking would put Allie somewhere on the road outside her neighborhood that leads to the Burger Barn. Okay, so Allie, a reasonable assumption would be that 10 minutes of casual walking would put, I can't comprehend that right now. Joanne returned home from work at 5:30. Allie wasn't home, but there was no cause for alarm. She figured Allie would call. So this is all just, all right, we'll go over that later. Let's go back to this here. Yeah, I don't understand why they don't, but apparently, last communication recorded was a text message sent to a friend, and the friend's name is not here, at 2:57 p.m. So I'm assuming that that's the last communication right there. But I can't assume that. I mean, I can't be 100% sure of that because I'm sure. I want to know who that friend was, though. All right, let's go back to this here. Hold on a second. Spring break is between March and April. I thought April vacation was the end of April. I may be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. Yes, up here in New Hampshire, we have April vacation, but down there different because they get out early May. Oh, right. See, that's why I'm glad you're here because I don't, not gifted upstairs here.
And John Lowitzer, thank you both for your time. I really appreciate you talking to us as we try to help in the search for Allie all these years later. I would imagine there's not a day that goes by that you don't think about Allie and wonder what happened. Joanne, let me start with you and some.
I love this program. I don't shout out these, and I'm not being paid by anybody, but I am glad that at least somebody does something like this every week in mainstream media. I just wish they'd do more of this, right? Like you wish that people, especially in mainstream media, would do more of this type of news setting here where they have missing persons cases, because there's just so, I mean, this is 2010. This is 15 years ago. Good Lord.
Some of your fondest memories of your daughter. What do you want people to know about Allie?
Allie's a very passionate person. If you were a friend of hers, she would do anything for you. Not just her friends, but her creativity was very important for her. I think it was a good outlet for her. And animals, her pets, she was very compassionate. If she saw a stray dog, she would try to find its owner. She was that type of person, very passionate and caring.
And had a big heart. John, how about you? When you think of Allie and your relationship with her, what comes to mind?
So I agree with everything that Joanne said. Allie had a big heart. She was friends with just about everybody, even though she kept her friend circle small. She kept a lot of people very close to her. She loved outdoors. She loved fishing. She loved Girl Scouts, being involved in softball, so very active. So yeah, just a very, very bright person, very creative. She loved to sing, and she was starting to get into plays at school and things like that, and just seemed to be like a passion of hers.
Joanne, what was going on in Allie's life at the time that she disappeared? Were there any things that you look back on that then became red flags, or did things seem normal?
No red flags. Things did seem pretty normal. She went missing on a Monday, so that weekend was normal. Her new boyfriend was at the house. He was teaching her how to, ride a skateboard and, just enjoying each other's time, playing video games and laughing and joking. And yeah, it was very typical.
John, as I understand it, in the initial hours, you thought and you shared that maybe she was at a friend's house. At what point did it turn in your mind that something else may have happened?
Yeah, so the initial feeling for that was, she's a rebellious teenager. She's probably with a friend or something like that. Gave it a little bit of time, a little bit of a understanding, a little bit of leeway, and that she would come home. However, by the next morning, when she had not come home, that was when it really sunk in for me that something was definitely wrong, because that was very out of character for her. She was not somebody to be away from the house for a very long time.
In so many of the cases we cover.
Thank you, Southern Girl, for putting that in there. PJ's awesome. She's got a great channel. Street View Dave. Has anyone heard of people getting reward money? No, I haven't. Drive on the left. I know, I'm terrible at that. I just flop myself in the middle of the traffic. Right.
Regarding teens, the thought of them running away often comes up. Joanne, I know that was initially part of police response. Take us back to that day and your interaction with police and how they approached the case and Allie's disappearance.
When the initial deputy showed up at the house that evening,
Okay, so this is interesting. Hold on, I'm sorry to keep stopping this. Hold on a second. So this is interesting. Allie was an avid texter, averaging 4,000 texts per month. And she used her cell phone often, yet all communication, including pinging cell towers, stopped at about 3 p.m. I wonder if she had a diary. Do girls even do diaries anymore? Is that the thing? Did that stop? Her cell phone, charger, clothes, makeup, money, jewelry, and things that were very important to her were not missing. So that's telling me that she left those things behind. If Allie ran away, she would have taken many of these items with her. So she didn't take anything with her. I just thought this was interesting. I'm just reading from this site that we were at. So, averaging 4,000 texts per month and used her cell phone often. But it seems like all of the communication stopped around 3 p.m. So that was the last. 2:57 was when she texted that friend.
We were explaining to her what we had already done. We had already been out looking for.
And I don't know. I don't know statistics. I don't know if there's a reasonable data statistic on that, whether or not people, because I do know that some people that just run away do leave everything behind. And there's, but I would almost guarantee you that they don't, right? Most people will take something with them if they're leaving, but I don't know if there's an accurate statistic on that. I'll have to look that up. But stopped writing a diary when my ex got into it. So, but I just think it'd be hard for me to believe that a teenage girl would leave everything behind and run away. I would think it would be, she'd probably want to take at least something. I don't think this is a runaway.
Alley, once I discovered that the restaurant was closed.
I'm just saying people do run away. I mean, it happens a lot more than people think it does, but I don't think that people who run away would necessarily leave everything. He was going to get her paycheck, so that this doesn't make any sense to me that she would run away without her paycheck.
Allie was immediately profiled, her age and her being female. The deputy.
Barb's getting ready to be on a big channel Wednesday at 7:30 Central Time. Where? I want to see that. Can I see that?
Looked in Allie's room very briefly, saw that there was black paint on the walls, and that Allie would wear eyeliner and black clothes, and very dismissive, I feel. And as she was leaving, she said, call us when Allie comes home.
How have you both confronted the challenges of that profiling, of the thought that it's a teenage girl, they leave, they'll come back? Joanne, I'll start with you on that. And has that changed over all these years in how people help search for Allie?
It was very upsetting for me about how dismissive they were. I understand that teenagers.
This needs to change. If there's anything that needs to change in society, is these freaking, and I usually try to stick up for law enforcement because they, for the most part, they do a fairly good job. But if they would just listen to the mother, right? If they would just freaking listen to the mom, especially the parents, a little bit more when it comes to stuff like this. Get off your lazy freaking ass. Get out there and start looking right away. It's better to be safe than sorry, right? But if a mom comes to you and says, my daughter's missing, don't do nothing. That's all. They need to change that. They need to change their approach to these things. Because they always tell you the first 48 hours are the most crucial, right? But yet they don't freaking do anything for 48 hours. It's so stupid.
Run away, they take off, and but you know your child better than anybody else, especially.
Hello, I shall prevail. Good to see you. Oh, that's Charles Manson. Charles Manson's in the house, I think.
A deputy that had never even met our family before. And for us to be told that Allie ran away was very disappointing. And to be honest,
I mean, it does happen. People do, especially kids. My brother ran away 3 times to the same place. He went to the same exact place. So it wasn't hard to find him. But I mean, teenagers do run away. It does happen. But just to assume that is, especially when it's coming from the mom or the parents, like I don't know how they can just write that off. That'd be a question for Steve, but I think they should they should do something as opposed to do nothing, you know, period.
To sorry. She had the label of a runaway until she was 18. And then when she was the legal age of an adult, they could no longer label her that.
John, what are your thoughts on that, and how much investigatively do you believe you all lost in those initial hours and days, if that was in fact the approach?
Yeah, so the initial contact with law enforcement was that night, and the officer was like, well, she's probably out, she'll come home, don't worry about it. Joanne and I, as Allie's parents, we know Allie better than anybody, and I'm 100% confident that.
I mean, it's if you do any research on it, it's an overwhelming. I think it's like 90% of all calls that are called in for missing people show up within an hour or two. I forget the actual statistic. I'll have to look it up, but here's the problem, because you have a lot of crazy people too that call in for no reason, right? But the majority of people that go missing and are they get the calls for missing people, they usually return or show up within, I forget the actual hour. So, but in cases like this here, when you have a mom pleading that their daughter is gone missing, she's, and they don't listen to the mom, tell them the story behind it, it's they need to change that, in my opinion.
That as much as we were trying to be convinced that she was a runaway, we were trying to convince them that she was not. And I think we lost valuable time in those first 24 to 48 hours where we could have been, and I say we collectively, law enforcement and whoever could help, could have actually been out doing some good and doing some research and searching. But I think we lost valuable time in those first 24 to 48 hours. And then the weeks after that were tough as well.
Yeah, I think about the case.
And the other thing is, law enforcement ain't going to tell the family anything. They're just not. This is an open case right now, so they're not going to tell the parents, family, anything. They just, and they do that for a reason. An open case like this, even if it's a cold case, like, because I contacted, who did I contact last week? I'll have to look it up, but I contacted the Barbara Cotton case. I contacted North Dakota police because I had a few questions, but they wouldn't tell me anything. They don't tell anybody anything, especially parents. So they're not going to tell, police aren't going to tell the parents anything.
That we covered this week, the girl in Missouri, and social media played a big part in getting the word out that she was missing, and it had so many people talking. 15 years ago, was there coverage of Allie's disappearance? Was there social media outrage at that point? And
I know, you poor thing, Barbara. That's just so. If anybody's gonna advocate for anything, it's for the police to start freaking listening to the parents. Just listen. That's all you got to do is listen. Get off your freaking high horse and listen to the parents. Ugh.
And were people on the ground searching other than you guys?
So, John, if you don't mind. So at that time, 15 years ago, there was social media platforms like MySpace, and Facebook was really just kind of in its infant stages. So I don't think that there was that much of a social media presence. I think Allie might have just started to have a Facebook account, and she was not active on it. So the social media aspect of it, I don't think was there. A lot of the legwork was done by myself, Joanne, our immediate family, our immediate friends, and literally just plastering the area with flyers that we had made, homemade flyers with pictures and going to different places and asking questions. And as information was coming in, we would go talk to people.
And I can guarantee you that this guy talking right now, the father was interrogated a lot. That's the first person they go to is the people closest to the victim. I mean, that's routine.
When we would try to follow up on those leads. So that was a lot of that manual work, if you will. We didn't really have.
Oh, that picture right there is so freaking sad. Oh, that's awful.
A social media presence at that time.
So you only have, the evidence of the footage of her on the bus and then witnesses that say they saw her texting on that corner. Joanne, what about her phone? I know that both of you continued to pay for the phone, hoping that it would ping or that she would call home. Let's start there. Is that your best piece of evidence right now? And do you know at this point who she was texting?
We do know that her last text.
Is this a picture of her on the bus? I wonder if this has got to be a picture of her on the bus.
After she got off the bus was.
So she's in the front of the bus. Do school buses have dash cams? And would school buses have had dash cams in 2010? But I wonder if this is an actual picture of image of her getting off the bus here. Who's this guy?
To one of her friends, asking what they were going to do that evening and if they could get together and hang out.
She's got a purse right there, though. Is that a purse? So she had something on her.
That
Who's this guy?
it did go missing with her everything. That the bus footage shows her backpack, her cell phone, her school ID, everything went missing with her. And the last ping on her phone was right there at the entrance of the neighborhood, right at about the time that she stepped off the bus.
And John, as we look at the images of Allie.
Wish I could blow this up. Is that the face of the phone there? That's not a purse. That's a backpack of some sort. This is the front view. This is the back view. Oh.
And those who were there at that point, do you have any suspicions on anyone who was in the area? And do you have any theories at this point about what happened after she got off that bus?
It's really tough to say if there is a specific person or anybody as a person of interest, because we just don't know. She just kind of like up and vanished, and we really don't have any witnesses. Really tough. The pictures that you see there with her on the bus with a backpack and her cell phone.
Is that what that is? Is an ID holder? Or is that I don't. Hold on a second.
The pictures that you see there with her on the bus with a backpack and her cell phone, it's unfortunate that those are the last photos that I have of my daughter.
I think that's a cell phone. Is that a cell phone?
And I don't want those to be the last ones that I have of her, and I don't have a choice in the matter, but at this time, but
Yeah.
you know,
As we mentioned, Allie's birthday, February 3rd, is now honored as National Missing Persons Day. Have you all worked with organizations?
I just want to let you guys know you guys are all awesome. I appreciate everybody coming in here. You guys are all amazing.
And I know I saw that age progression photo. Have there been any tips or possible sightings, any leads throughout the years, Joanne, that have led you to believe that Allie's out there somewhere and that we can find her?
To be honest, it's been 15 years, and the tips have been all over the place. We worked really close with NCMEC. We haven't had a very good relationship with law enforcement, but recently we have.
This is how bad this is, right? Check this out. Obviously, the police aren't involved yet. So the next morning, still no sign of Allie after an entire day of trying to do all her family and friends could think of. Her mom took the advice from her friend at the Girl Scout Council and called the Laura Recovery Center. The next morning, they arrived and helped organize the group of friends and family and encouraged law enforcement's active participation. They still were not involved. Law enforcement, they had to encourage from this group active participation from Ellie. So finally, law enforcement questioned the boys that exited the school bus with Allie and the employees at the Burger Barn, but concluded that since there was no evidence of a crime taking place, they would classify Allie as a runaway teen. So they were still saying, that's just ridiculous.
I've reconnected with them, and they assured us that they.
Are you taking off, Carol? If you're taking off, Carol, have a good night. It's always good to see you here in the chat. Thank you so much for coming in. This sucks. This is just a terrible. Thank you, Dino, for doing that.
Do track down every tip that comes in. So with that being said, the tips over the years have been sightings in Alaska. Allie was shopping in a Walmart, but then at the same time, she was, in a Walmart on the East Coast shopping. She supposedly was seen having dinner in a restaurant in a completely different state. And then we've gotten tips that, images of her were found on adult websites, and to be sent those images just to rule those out is pretty horrific. But, I look at every single one of them just to see if it could be her or not. So today we still continue to get tips of sightings of Allie, but nothing has led anywhere.
Joanne, the reason I know about Allie's case is because of your TikTok account and that you reached out to us. How has that helped fill the void of the unknown for you and seeing a community out there who is searching and helping, a lot of people who do care?
I was very skeptical of TikTok at first, because you hear that people just go on there and make silly videos. And, a friend encouraged me to go on there.
If you want to post your channel in here, Peggy, I'll go right ahead. Anybody that's got a channel, feel free to throw it in here. I have no problem promoting other people's channels, especially good, great creators. There's a ton of them in here.
There just to see what it was like, and
I was very surprised about the missing person and true crime community that is there, and the help and support that they offer. And through TikTok, I've been able to get more information and connect with investigators that have been working the case recently.
A powerful tool. John, what would be your advice to other families who, heaven forbid, find themselves with a child who goes missing in those immediate moments, hours, and days, so that they can do their best to bring their loved one home based on what you all have been through?
So I would say, first off, take preventive measures so that you don't get into a situation like that. Educate yourself, educate your kids, take advantage of community programs that may be available, online programs that may be available to educate yourself and educate your kids should there be a situation like that. If you do find yourself at
Okay, so Allie rarely went out with friends and loved her creature comforts of home. Her friends would usually hang out at her house rather than going to theirs. She liked being in her room, drawing, painting, and listening to music while texting or talking on the phone. Allie was active in softball, Girl Scouts, choir, and art. Allie had plans in the near future. She looked forward to helping arrange an Alice in Wonderland party for her best friend's birthday. So all of this here is just more, I don't want to say evidence, but clear cut. You know, she wasn't, it doesn't seem like she was, depressed or anything, but she could have been. Who knows? Thankfully, the Laurel Recovery Center took a different approach. They immediately established a command center, coordinated search teams and volunteers to search the area. They did everything. For 2 weeks straight, the Laurel Recovery Center organized and executed awareness alerts, flyer distribution, and searches. Good for them. I mean, whew. Literally hundreds of searchers, including local mounted search and rescue teams, search dogs, holy crap, ATVs, boats, and volunteers from the community searched the wooded areas, creeks, and houses in the area. At that point, who needs the cops, right? So that's pretty good right there, because the cops weren't doing anything, that's for sure.
In a situation like that, I would say make sure that you've done as much of your homework as possible, get in touch with law enforcement as quickly as possible, and really just kind of take everything. The way that we approached it was we did a lot of legwork ourselves, so be prepared to do it.
Joanne, if you could say anything to Allie, what would you tell her?
I would tell her that I love her.
Oh my God, this just tears me to pieces. This shit here, man. I just want to go down there and help.
And that if she is alive out there somewhere, that we're not going to stop until we find you. So don't give up hope.
Joanne and John, thank you. I know it's difficult, but I appreciate you giving us some of your time and sharing part of Allie with us. And we are here to partner with you and help as you continue to look for her. Thank you to you both.
Thank you so much.
If you have any information that can help in this case and bring answers to this family about what happened to Allie Lowitzer, you can contact the Harris County Sheriff's Office, Detective Timothy Hayes on the case. If you have a missing case you think we should investigate, visit our missing page on newsnationnow.com.
Yeah, that stuff there just, the reason why I got into this horrible business. I mean, it's just, true crime has got its downs for sure. This is, you just want to break something. That's what you want to do. You just want to, where is she? You know, like, oh my God, it's terrible. So I'll keep up on this here. If I can find any more information on this case, I'll try to, maybe do a part 2 on this here, but I want to do some mapping on this here, and I'm going to try to find out if I can find the exact address to where she kind of went missing. I'll do that. But anyways, okay, so I want to get on to the second part of this Barbara Cotton case. Hold on a second. Let me okay, so let's so we did last week we did Barbara Cotton part 1. We did basically last week what we did is we went to the corner of that hotel and we could actually see Recreation Park there, so we did that, so we know that that is a possibility. But I want to dive into this right now. So if you don't know anything about this case, this is the Barb Cotton case, and one of our people that come in here all the time, Lisa Joe, is a relative, a removed relative. She's, I think her, so Lisa Joe's ex-husband, his mother was Barbara Cotton's sister. Okay, so Barbara Louise Cotton was born November 10th, 1965 in Tioga, North Dakota, to Louise and John Cotton. Barbara was the 7th of 8 children. So from what I can gather, 3 of the children had already been moved out. So they had 3 children, then they waited a while and then had 3 other children. In order, there was John, who was I think the oldest, Frank, Dorothy, Joe, Bernard, who passed away at age 2. Diane, Kent, Barbara, and Kathy. So that's a big family, but 3 of them were moved out already, and 3, I think, were still living at home. Barbara was kind of in the middle of that. The Cotton family lived in a rural piece of property in a 1-bedroom trailer. There were what could be only described as 3 sheds that attached to the trailer home. Still not spacious, but okay, so that's that. We did that already. We did this. Okay, so Barbara was last seen on April 11th, 1981, which I believe was a Saturday, after having dinner with her boyfriend and another friend. This was not Sandy or Diane. So Sandy was apparently one of her friends who lived across the street, I think, from her, and Diane was a different friend. Which I believe Barbara's mother contacted both of these people after Barbara went missing. So in downtown Williston. And I don't know, nobody knows the dinner, where they went for dinner. Okay, so after dinner, her boyfriend offered to walk her home, but Barb declined, right? So that was the first question I have, is why would Barbara decline to walk home? But what I want to do tonight is I want to get into this guy here. So there's I think there were 3 different suspects. So there was the so-called boyfriend, who was 21. His name was Stacy Werner, Werner. And then there's this guy right here, Frank Della Pina. Now the problem is both Stacy Werner, the first suspect, the so-called 21-year-old boyfriend, and this guy, they're both dead. Both of them died, I believe, in jail. But I do want to get into this guy here. So there's a third person of interest, Frank Della Pina. Della Pina was working in Williston at the time of Barb's disappearance on May 1st, 1981. He was hospitalized for a mental health evaluation and released the following day. So we know that this guy here was in town at or around the time that this Barbara Cotton went missing here. Delapina lost his job working for, I'm not even going to pronounce that. It's a local seismology crew. So this is a big oil town, so it's probably related to that. On May 5th, Delapina headed for Rawlins, Wyoming, in his 1973 Ford van, pulling his travel trailer. And on May 7th, Delapina started what seemed like a desperate mission to lure young girls into his van. So here's the thing. Here's the deal. Charles is here. Where's Charles? Good to see Charles. Did Dino leave? Oh, Dino's leaving. Have a good night, buddy. Good to see Dino in here as usual. His phone's probably dead. Dino's awesome. Dino's a great guy. Dino, I think Dino was one of my first subscribers here. What was I talking about? Okay. What was I doing? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I want to find. Seconds. Let me stop sharing that for a second. So this is Frank Delapina here. Delapina here. Right here. And there's very little on this guy here. But the problem I have is, like, if you go by statistics, right, in this case, there's some fact, very little, but you have one account that was early in this investigation where, she had dinner with this guy, Stacy Warner, from that hotel corner, and she declined that. But you also have Louise said that she talked to Barbara around 11 p.m. So did she go out after that? And according to Louise Cotton, she was at the dinner with them. So, and then you have another story where there's this party that went on at 11 whatever. So there's very little fact here. There's the only people that really know what's going on in this case is Louise, Barbara Cotton, and very few other people. There's not a lot of actual evidence where you can say, okay, she was at this corner with this guy, Stacy Warner, or B, she was at this party afterwards, and so I try to go by statistics after that. Like, what are the chances of being abducted by a serial killer or somebody who and the odds of that happening are fairly low, right? If you take the amount of people that actually get taken by somebody who's in that SKer field, it's very low. It's a very small percentage of people. But in this case, we do have a little bit of fact that this guy here, Frank Della Pena, was in the area in and around the time that Barbara Cotton went missing. And a couple of weeks later, he ends up luring some girls into his van and trailer and actually ends up unaliving him. So let's go back here. So I think that's a hell of a coincidence. Don't you think that's right, so hold on one second. I want to go back to this here. All right. All right, so all of these attempts. Okay, so here we go. Della Pena stated what seemed like a desperate mission to lure young girls into his van. His ruse was attempting to rehome or a husky puppy, which is a pretty good rules, but the catch was that they had to come inside to help him find it. All of these attempts failed, but later at 7 p.m. at a busy intersection, he abducted 2 young girls, aged 9 and 12, and they don't put their names in here, but I guess I could go that route. 1 block away from the police station, if you can believe it. Their bodies were found the following morning off of an interstate exit 55 miles east of Rawlins, Wyoming. Della Pena was quickly caught with all of the eyewitnesses from the attempted abductions. Della Pena was arrested on May 12, 1981 in Lyman, Colorado after applying for a job. While in the Lincoln County Jail in Hugo, Colorado, awaiting extradition to Wyoming, he barely ate and told the jailers he didn't serve to eat after what he had done. He didn't deserve to eat after what he had done. Soon after that statement, though, he started eating, and when extradition time came, Della Pena refused to sign paperwork regarding his transfer. On May 22nd, 1981, he unalived himself in his jail cell, leaving a suicide letter to the media about how he was being framed for the killing. So he thought he was being framed. 2 interesting details aside from the abduction and the murders of the 2 innocent girls. Della Pena used the ruse a puppy he had to rehome. This is key because Diane, Barb's friend, had spoken with Barb via phone the night before she vanished. Barb mentioned she was going with a friend the following day to bring a puppy to the vet and asked Diane if she wanted to tag along. See, that's strange, right? That's let me read this again. 2 interesting details aside from the abduction and unalivings of the 2 innocent girls. Della Pena used the ruse a puppy he had to rehome. So he would lure girls into his van or trailer or whatever with the puppy ruse, right? This is key because Diane, Barb's friend, had spoken with Barb via the phone the night before she vanished. Barb mentioned she was going with a friend the following day to bring a puppy to the vet and asked Diane if she wanted to tag along. That is really strange. Jerry was in the room where there's a vending machine to purchase snacks and or drinks. While standing there contemplating her choice, a girl walked right past her. A girl she claims was Barb. All right, hold on a second. Either way, Diane declined the invite. Another weird needle in a haystack is in the final episode of Dakota Spotlight, a woman. So this is from this channel, Dakota Spotlight, that's been doing awesome work on this case. A woman, a girl at the time in 1981 by the name of Jerry, told the host, James, she remembered seeing Barb after she was known to be missing. She can't recall an exact date, but could be a crazy person too. But she was in a local hospital, not as a patient, but for other reasons. Jerry was in the room where there is vending machines to purchase snacks and or drinks. While standing there contemplating her choice, a girl walked right past her. A girl she claims was Barb. So I don't know how true this is. This could be just, but that's the guy right there. That's her again right there. So I just wanted to bring that up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find out the names. Maybe I can go this route. I can find the names of those two girls that he unalived, or he was accused of unaliving, and find out a little bit more information on that. But I just wanted to go over that from this Barb Cotton case, because I think it's I think it's strange that that guy was in the same area at the time that Barbara Cotton went missing. And this is coming from, so it's just 60 miles south of the Canadian border. So I'll keep looking into that. But I did want to go over that tonight, and I'll try to, like I said, do a little bit more. So let me, I do want to get into this case too here. This is the Austin Drummond case here. So let me share this here. And we'll get into this case here. Okay, so this is Austin Drummond. He's accused of unaliving 4 family members. They finally caught him in West Tennessee before abducting and then abandoning a baby girl. Evaded capture for 7 days. Authorities said he spent part of the time hiding in a vacant pool house outside of the Jacksonville home. This is in Tennessee, right? Drummond was arrested on Tuesday, August 5th. So this is where he was hiding out in here. This guy here is just who knows. So here's this.
I came up to the pool house. I sensed something was off, and that's when I encountered the suspect.
New tonight, a story you'll see only on Fox 13. We hear from the man who found an accused mass murderer in his hiding place. And Fox 13 will take you inside. Thank you for being with us at 5. I'm Daryl Green.
And I'm Darcy Thomas. Austin Drummond is due in court tomorrow morning to face 4 counts of murder and other charges. But tonight, Fox 13 takes you exclusively inside of the pool house where the accused killer hid during this week-long search.
Fox 13's Martin Staunton is live in Jackson, Tennessee again tonight. Martin, you talked to the man who takes care of that property, and he says he's the one who found Drummond.
Gerald, that man tells Fox 13 that he was just following his morning routine when he went to the pool house. It's located on a 9-acre estate on this road in an upscale neighborhood in Jackson. And that man says that's when he found himself face to face with Austin Drummond.
Came out from the inside of the pool house where he had apparently been hiding out, and had either a rifle or a shotgun, and he pointed that at me. He yelled and pointed that at me.
Due to Drummond's alleged gang affiliation, this man asked us not to show his face or share his name, but he is sharing what happened as he stared down the barrel of a rifle Tuesday morning with an accused murderer's finger on the trigger.
He ran toward me at first, which really made me take off, and he had the gun, so I felt like I could get away from him if he didn't shoot. But I ran through the woods into the middle of Pleasant Plains and flagged someone down, and used their emergency phone to call 911 from there.
He says before finding Drummond, he was aware of the manhunt and just how dangerous investigators say Drummond is. He says he thanks God he lived to tell the story.
I do feel blessed. Very blessed is the word that I can, because he could have easily, he had two guns right there loaded. I just, he and I back here, he could have killed me. And I can't thank God enough for making it.
He adds, there's a singular sense of dignity he will now carry, knowing he helped in the capture of a man accused of the murders of 4 people.
I feel super blessed myself from surviving that, but my heart goes out to the families that are all, it's a terrible, tragic thing, and I'm so glad for the people that got him into custody.
I do know one thing, that thumb is not coming off. So, but this guy must have been scared out of his ass, right? Like, I don't know. Does anybody know why this guy did this?
And still ahead at 6, we're going to take an exclusive look at just how Austin Drummond was living. And you're going to have to see it to believe it. That's coming up in about an hour. Darcy?
That is Fox 13's Martin Staunton reporting live tonight. Thank you so much, Martin.
All right, so I want to do more on that case there. Let's do this one here.
Suspect in the quadruple homicide appeared in court for the first time today, and afterwards we heard her.
So this was done a day ago. The family watched as Drummond appeared virtually before Lake County judge and was officially charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. This is another one of those weird cases here, right? Why did this guy do this?
Heard from the parents of one of those victims, Matthew Wilson. Our Dryden Quigley's been following the story. You're here in studio, Dryden, with what you learned here in court.
Tracy, first, Matthew's parents told us that this week has been nothing short of devastating for them, but they did say they were pleased.
When are you doing the birthday thing? When are we doing the birthday thing? Yeah, it's a 10. It's officially the 10th now, New Hampshire for sure. No, just let me know. Heather's amazing.
After learning today that the district attorney will be seeking the death penalty for Austin Drummond and that he's being held without bond. After a 7-day manhunt, 28-year-old Austin Drummond was taken into custody in Jackson, Tennessee. Today,
Now, this is a courthouse.
appeared for the first time in court for charges including 4 counts of first-degree murder and aggravated kidnapping. The judge revealed that all 4
Is this like a revenge type thing, or jealousy, or?
4 victims were shot to death. One of those victims is Matthew Wilson. He's also the father of the baby who Drummond allegedly abandoned in Dyer County.
Matthew was a good father.
He was a good boy.
He was a good brother. He was a damn good son.
And they loved their baby.
Absolutely.
They loved their baby. The whole family loved each other. That's the thing that people are forgetting.
Matthew's parents, Kim and Matt, say they're happy after they learned the man who allegedly killed their son.
All day? Is it all day Sunday?
And his family could face the death penalty.
So what's the point of letting him back out? He's already proven that he does stuff like this. So don't give him the opportunity to take somebody else's family.
Their whole family.
Because that's what I think people don't understand. He took them all. It's not just the loss of our son.
They said they plan on being at all of Drummond's appearances to make sure they get justice.
We're going to be here every chance we get. We're going to be right.
This is what's going to happen. Okay. They're going to go through a 2-year long, arduous wait for a trial in this case here. And as soon as they get close to trial, since there's the DP involved here, they're going to make a plea deal, and that's going to be life in prison for this guy. They're going to cave.
Here for our son because he cannot be here.
As for the baby, Weslyn, who lost both of her parents, they said she's in protective custody right now and is physically doing well. Drummond has now been appointed a lawyer and is expected back in court next week.
Yeah, he won't be in court for years. See, this is what I was thinking. Maybe like a drug case or something, or
Now, new at 5 on your news leader, we're digging deeper into Austin Drummond's criminal past while he was in and out of prison in Lake County. Drummond, who's being held without bond, is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. WRG's Mike Surian reports from Lake County on how Drummond is now implicated in another crime.
Court documents released here Thursday in Lake County show Austin Drummond's continued use with illegal drugs and his involvement in an alleged attempt to smuggle contraband into a correctional facility just outside of Tiptonville, partnering with a man named Brandon Powell. Brandon Powell in custody, appearing in Lake County Court Thursday for arraignment by Judge and.
Do you think that this is that simple, where it was a drug deal gone wrong or something like that, or somebody owed him money, or haven't settled on a time? Charles says 10 p.m., but I think earlier. Okay, thank you. I ain't coming up on a panel. We remember what happened the last time, but I'll try to be there. Glad you're home safe. Tracy's here. I'm home and in jammies now, so I can chat. Happy birthday, Heather. Heather's birthday is Tuesday, I think, right? You shall. Shall what?
Andrew Cook.
It's alleged that on the 18th of June, Mr. Powell traveled to Lake County, Tennessee with a Mr. Austin Drummond with the intention of delivering marijuana, tobacco, and an ear-piercing kit to an inmate at the local prison in Tiptonville, Tennessee.
Court documents show in the early morning hours of June 19th, law enforcement tried to stop a vehicle reportedly driven by Austin Drummond, who refused to stop and was seen throwing objects out of the vehicle. Evidence collected indicated a drone was going to be used to deliver the contraband, including cell phones, and that 3 other suspects were involved in the conspiracy. Drummond reportedly gave Powell's name to investigators.
Mr. Drummond identified Mr. Powell as the driver.
Stories. How about sock puppets? Tracy is amazing. Tracy is an awesome person. It's always good to have Tracy here. Really smart. Put it that way.
Driver of the trail car assisting with the delivery.
WREG investigators dug deep into Drummond's drug problems while in prison, and with audio from a July 23, 2020 parole board hearing where Drummond blamed his drug abuse for not remembering a gas station holdup in Jackson when he was 17 years old.
What'd you have? It was a BB gun. Honestly, I was on Xanax that night. I don't even remember doing anything.
Using any other drugs or alcohol around that time?
No, just Xanax, alcohol, and marijuana.
4-year news leader in Lake County, Mike Suriani,
Yeah, just Xanax, alcohol, and pot. That's all. Ugh. People say the stupidest things when they get arrested.
WREG News Channel 3.
Now, according to District Attorney Danny Goodman, Brandon Powell is only considered an accomplice of Drummond's in that June incident and not in connection with the 4 murders in Lake County. Powell, Drummond, and 3 other suspects charged with Drummond as accessories will be in court August 14th.
All right, let's do one more on this clown. Let's do this one here.
Well, what he did is wrong. But I have a son his age. And I hate that he's ruined his life. And also lives of others.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my podcast. Really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. I'm actually on the road right now in rural Kentucky. This is my buddy Mo, cameraman. We're out here investigating after the sheriff killed the judge. You guys might remember that story. There's an insane backstory to all of that, which I'm going to have in a future episode. In
Let's
this
do
episode,
this one
though,
here. Hold on.
Now, we want to take you live to the first court appearance of the man who is on Tennessee's most wanted list, 28-year-old Austin Drummond, accused of killing 4 people and kidnapping a baby in Northwest Tennessee.
It's Electric Wearcut. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody in here. Okay, so this is apparently this is his appearance in court. District Attorney Danny Goodman said during Austin Drummond's arraignment that the state will seek. So they're going to go DP in this case.
We are just waiting on Drummond's arrival there in court, but we have a crew on the scene right now in a courtroom. There's also 4 other people that have been arrested in this case and have been charged with helping, aiding, and abetting Drummond there. And you can see him there now. We're going to take you live to the scene.
This morning that you have before the court is 1 count of first-degree murder. It's alleged that on 29th of July, Mr. Braden Williams was located deceased from apparent gunshot wounds on Carrington Road in Tiptonville in Lake County, Tennessee. During the course of the investigation, it was determined that Mr. Drummond did with premeditation knowingly and intentionally kill Mr. Braden Keith Williams with the use of a firearm. It's alleged he did commit this offense also while being in possession of a firearm after being convicted of a felony, being aggravated robbery in Madison County, Tennessee. He has 1 count, therefore, of first-degree murder and unlawful possession of a firearm. Second charge you have, sir, is first-degree murder and 1 other count of unlawful possession of a firearm. It's alleged during the course of investigation that a James Wilson was located deceased from apparent gunshot wounds in Lake County, Tennessee on Carrington Road. It was determined that you with premeditation knowingly and intentionally killed Mr. Wilson with the use of a firearm. It's also alleged, based on the same facts or circumstances, that you are a convicted felon out of Madison County. In addition to that, sir, you also have 1 count of first-degree murder and unlawful possession of a weapon. It's alleged that during the course of investigation, officers determined that Mr. Drummond, with premeditation, knowingly and intentionally killed Miss Adriana Williams in Lake County, Tennessee, on Carrington Road. She was discovered from an apparent gunshot wound, deceased. In addition to that, he also is a convicted felon out of Madison County, Tennessee. You also, sir, have one count of first-degree murder and additional unlawful possession of a weapon.
Are you leaving, Heather? If you're leaving, Heather, I hope you go to sleep for a little while. Love you. Miranda's here. Hey, Miranda, how are you? Good to see you. Miranda's here. Miranda's in the house. I was just going to say something. Okay, sorry. I forgot what I was going to say. It's not untypical. This is freaking weird. They have this guy in some sort of a room here. Nobody around him. They must think this guy's a real threat because they got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys in here. This is weird. I've never seen anything like this before.
It's alleged during the course of the investigation, officers determined that you did with premeditation, knowingly, intentionally kill Miss Courtney Rose with the use of a firearm. She was discovered deceased from apparent gunshot wounds on.
Are you okay, Miranda? Everything okay? Miranda's amazing. Miranda's awesome. I went to casino tonight, left $88 a head, but banned for 48 hours. Wow. Fantastic.
Carrington Road in Lake County, Tennessee. It's alleged, in addition to that, sir, as previously stated, you are a convicted.
So for those of you guys don't know about this case, this guy's accused of unaliving, I think it was 4 people. And then he kind of left the baby on a some yard somewhere. But he was on the run for a while, and they finally caught him. I believe this was in Tennessee. Not sure.
Convicted felon allegedly from the county of Madison in Tennessee. It's just that we have the other charge. I don't have.
And he got caught this week, I think, along with the other guy in Arkansas. And I think they're still looking for that other guy over there in Oregon. Not sure. Washington or Oregon, somewhere around there.
Never mind. Sorry about that, Mr. Drummond. In addition to that, finally, he has 1 count of aggravated kidnapping and a possession of a firearm during the commission.
Thank you for that. I'm pretty sure there's too many of them. There's the guy in Arkansas, Tennessee, and then I think there's one out west somewhere.
Of a dangerous felony. It's alleged that all of the victims in the case that previously were mentioned were located deceased from apparent gunshot wounds on the same date. A minor child with the date of birth 12/12/2024 with the initials WW was discovered left in the front of a residence in Dyer County, Tennessee. States that Mr. Drummond committed the offense of aggravated kidnapping by false imprisonment, which was committed to facilitate the commission of a felony or flight. It's alleged he committed this offense also possessing a firearm during the commission of said dangerous felony. When he possessed a firearm, he therefore has those counts. General Goodman, is the state moving forward with felony charges in this matter?
Yes, Your Honor, we are.
Mr. Drummond, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you at this time on your behalf, being that you do not have counsel appointed or retained to represent you. Are you going to be able to hire an attorney, sir, to represent you, or will you need me to ask you questions about your finances to appoint you an attorney?
I'm not going to be able to hire.
Okay. Sir, if you could, to the best of your ability, please raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give is true, so help you God?
Oh, that's terrible, Heather. Oh my God. Yeah, I have chemo 2 days after my birthday, and then I'll be halfway through chemo. Oh, you poor thing. Yes, I know.
Yes, sir. You put your hand down, sir. Mr. Drummond, prior to being taken in on these charges, sir, were you working anywhere?
I have a business, inflatable run business, kids parties, decorations, stuff like that.
So you were self-employed, is that correct?
Wow, that looks like you had a rough night there, Tracy. Poor Heather.
Yes.
Okay. Now, this is what I'm going to ask you, sir. Obviously, that may vary depending on how much business you generate monthly. If you could estimate for me what your monthly income would be from that business.
It varied, but it was around $46,000.
Okay. Okay.
Excuse me, a lot of it, I was just starting up, a lot of the money to run right back in to invest in.
When did you start the business, sir?
I started LLC in February. I believe I started operations just a month or two ago.
Just a month or two ago? Okay. Sir, let me ask you, do you own a home? Do you own a vehicle? I'm sorry?
I do conceive right now.
Okay. Can you tell me the make and model of the vehicle, sir?
And county late for
Okay. You recall how much you paid for that vehicle?
$12,000.
Okay. Are you still, are you making payments on the vehicle?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you have a checking or savings account, sir?
Yes.
Do you know roughly at this moment how much is in that checking or savings account?
$500.
General, I think due to the sort of the uncertainty of his business, I think that based on that and the fact he doesn't own much personal property, I think he does qualify as indigent for appointment to council. I've reached out previously to Mr. Brian Huffman out of Covington, and he has told me he is willing to take the appointment in this case. So what I'm going to do is appoint Mr. Brian Huffman to represent Mr. Drummond in this case. Mr. Drummond, Mr. Brian Huffman, attorney in Covington, Tennessee. He is going to be appointed in this case to represent you, sir. We're going to get his contact information to you, and also we're going to get his information for where to look, for where to contact him and locate him and be able to discuss your case with him. We'll be happy to get that to you, and we're going to send you his files and we're going to send your files to his office for him to review that. Okay. General, does the state wish to be heard on bond at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, at this time, the state intends to seek the death penalty. This is a capital case. We're asking that he be held without bond. In addition to that, he has a bond out of circuit court. We have filed motions to revoke those bonds that will be heard later in the month of August.
Does anybody know what the is there actually there must be some sort of a barometer of what constitutes a DP case and what doesn't, or do they just is it just an epiphany where they just say, okay, this one's going to be a DP and that one's not? There must be some sort of circumstances to warrant that, right? I guess I can Google that.
Mr. Drummond, what I'm going to do before I make a position on bond, I'm going to ask you some questions, sir. And if this information is not correct, sir, please just tell me if it is not, okay? Can you still hear me okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 16 O'Neill Oakway, apartment E in Jackson. Is that a
Okay, so with a quick AI type thing here, the death penalty can only be imposed on defendants convicted of capital offenses such as murder, treason, genocide, or the killing and kidnapping of a congressman or anybody in the three branches of government. So that's what capital crimes, capital offenses, or capital felonies. Murder, assassination, mass murder, child murder, aggravated rape, terrorism, aircraft hijacking, war crimes. So there you go. Good night, Rhonda. Good to see you. So good to see you. Always good to see you here in the chat. Have a wonderful week. Thank you so much.
good address for you, sir?
54 Harmony Lane, Jackson, Tennessee, 3801.
Okay. How long have you lived at that address, sir?
54 Harmony Lane, 16 Harmony Lane.
I'll make it easier. How long have you lived in the city of Jackson?
Since I was released in September of last year.
Okay. Before you were incarcerated on your previous charge, where were you living at?
6 Lindbergh Road, Jackson, Tennessee.
Okay, so for the majority of your life, have you lived in Jackson, Tennessee?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any family in Lake County, Tennessee?
Yes.
I'm not going to ask him questions about whether he's a prior convicted felon. I obviously don't want him to incriminate himself for that purpose.
It's so good to see all the new people in here. Always, Rhonda, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate that.
Folks, in the state of Tennessee, bond is a guaranteed right, with the exception of one incident when it is a capital offense and when the proof is evident.
All right, so that's what I wanted to see anyways. I wanted to see that. He's definitely they're gonna try to do the DP on that. Next thing I want to do is I want to kind of go over this a little bit. We did the missing, we did the Barbara Cotton thing, so let's do this really quick here. This is Crime Fix here. I also think that in this case here, this Brian Kohlberger case, anybody that wanted to see this go to trial is freaking pissed. And that includes the media, because they wanted, see guys, it's all about money, right? They wanted to see this go to trial because they would have had so much to talk about, so many viewers. So now they're just, now they are just pissed, right? So now they're coming out with all of these new crime scene photos released and all of this stuff. It's just it's so freaking sad, man. It's just marketing at its best. And we're going to do the same thing right here. So this came out a day ago. Some of the crime scene photos came out inside the King Road home where the four of these poor people were unalive. Moscow police released the photos and a surveillance video from the night of the murders to 2 Idaho media outlets, which means now everybody's got them. So here's this. This is my friend here, Angelini, whatever her name is, Anjanette Levy. Okay, so here we go. Am I sharing this? Yes. Here we go.
Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. It's been a little more than 2 weeks now since Bryan Kohberger was shipped off to a maximum security prison to start serving his 4 consecutive life sentences for the murders of Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. And now we are getting a look at just a little bit of the massive amount of evidence still to be released by the Moscow Police Department. Crime scene photos from 1122 King Road have been released to a Boise TV station, KTVB. Law and Crime has actually requested a long list of items from Moscow PD and other agencies and has not yet received a response, but Idaho residents, they get a quicker response to these records requests. KTVB shared these photos that they received, and they show areas inside the home which are blurred and redacted. There are also images of the sliding glass door that Bryan Kohberger entered the morning of November 13th, 2022, intent on carrying out murder.
Here's my opinion on sliding glass doors. Sliding glass doors are probably the single worst invention ever. Stupidest. I hate them. They're a security nightmare. You almost always have to put something behind them because if you're going to break into a house, the best place to do it is a sliding glass door, right? Like, leak all the freaking time. They're never framed right, and they're just, especially up here in New England where it gets really cold. Insulated, terrible. They're just horrible.
Murder. The photos also show handprints on the back window of the home, but we don't know who those belong to. Now, the Today Show also shared some of these photos from KTVB. One showed Maddie's boots on the ground. You can also see red Solo cups. The photos show a typical college house that one.
This was definitely, and I think I said this on Diane Live yesterday morning. This is a freaking party house, man.
Man destroyed, turning it.
And this could be the thinnest stairway I've ever seen in my entire life. This is maybe 1.5 foot across here. This is, if anybody tried coming down this stairway and somebody was going up it, you're trapped. And if there's a fire in here, you're a dead duck. You're not getting out of here.
Into a horrific crime scene. For what reason? We still don't know. And whatever reason he gave would never make sense to any of us. The release of the photos came after this photo of Bryan Kohberger became public. It shows him shortly after his.
Yes, that too. Walking into them. They're just, if you're trying to insulate your house pretty good for winter or summer or whatever, the sliding glass doors are not the way to do it. They've always been a nightmare.
His arrest on December 30th, 2022. Pennsylvania State Police raided his parents' home in Pennsylvania. Kohberger was wearing all black that morning. And now the entire video from the house next door to 1122 King Road has been released. The video from 1112 King Road was recorded from this camera. The house is right next door to where Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan were murdered. At 3:30 a.m., the white Hyundai Elantra pulls onto King Road for the very first time and then pulls out a couple of minutes later. Here's a clip from a video put together by the Idaho Statesman.
This is so weird. There's always a white car. Look at all the white cars. There's one there, one here, one here, one here. I mean, a white Elantra, there's probably 1 billion of them.
The Idaho Statesman video editors speed up the video by 15 times to show the next time that Kohberger pulls onto King Road at 3:38 a.m. and then leaves King Road at 3:40 a.m. Again, this video is speeded up by 15 times. And at 3:46 a.m., the DoorDash driver attempting to.
So just a quick number. Between 2011 and 2016, there were 1,300,000 Elantras made. It was offered in 7 colors. So right off the bat, you're down to about 200,000 white ones, but that's still a lot. Just saying.
Deliver food to Xana pulls onto King Road.
Is Barbara Hall leaving? Good night, Barb. It's always good to see Miss Barb in here. I can't wait to see that show you're on. Good luck with that. Miss Barb is amazing. She's always welcome here on this channel. We definitely love Miss Barb. She's amazing person. Have a good week, Miss Barb. Here's the problem with I have with him making a statement, though, and I think I do agree with the judge on. I mean, who the hell's going to believe him, anyways, right? I mean, there's still people that don't believe anything that BTK said. I do think they should, with some of these guys, they should donate his brain to science, though. That should be a stipulation for sure.
At 3:51 a.m., the DoorDash driver can be seen walking along the street. In her statement to police, she said she had trouble finding the address. She even used a flashlight to try to find the numbers on the house. She turns around at one point, and you can see her walking back toward 1122 King Road.
Hey, here's the thing. If she doesn't get lost, this murder probably doesn't happen.
Flashlight in hand. Then at 3:56 a.m., the white Elantra turns onto King Road again and leaves at 3:58 a.m.
It does. It sounds like somebody's found a men's room. Oh, that's the rewinding of that. That's what that noise is. They're rewinding it to. That's what that sound is. They're fast forwarding it, rewinding it, and
You saw the driver.
that poor DoorDash driver, man, just trying to make a living. Just picked the wrong night to work that night, man.
Left at 4 a.m. Detectives said in a report that Koberger pulled in behind that driver and pulled out, and they don't believe that she ever saw him. Then at 4:04 a.m., the white Elantra pulls onto King Road again and makes a strange 3-point turn.
Yeah, no, I'm too frozen out here to do that. It was the Scooby-Doo murders. Yep, Miranda's very funny. Haha.
Hey, I wanted to tell you about a free app that I've tried. It's called Upside, and it will give you cash back on things you use every day, like gas on every gallon on your first tank of 25 cents back on your first. It's the beginning of the end of Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan's lives. The hands of Brian Koberger. Again, for no reason at all. Brian Koberger, dressed in all black, carrying a K-bar knife, sneaked into the house on King Road through the sliding glass door. The camera that captured these images also captured sounds believed to have come from Xana's bedroom.
All right, hold on a minute. Shortly after that time, muffled audio could be heard of what sounded like voices or a whimper followed by a loud thud. The security camera was less than 50 feet from the west wall of Xana Kernodle's bedroom. So. That's freaking creepy, man. That right there. I wish I could, but I'm potted on sound here, so I can't. Does it sound like she's saying somebody's saying, "Oh my God"? Is that what you're hearing? That's a dog. I know what that sound is. I hear that every freaking time I'm trying to sleep in this house. That was a dog, but I think back here, I think somebody's saying, and it sounds like a female voice saying, "Oh my God," like very, very like scared. Oh my God. That dog sounds like it's a lot closer, so that must have been these people's dog. Dogs can hear shit that we can't, so.
The loud thud could have been Xana falling to the ground. Police reports reveal that Xana fought for her life. She had more than 50 stab wounds, many to her arms, hands, and face. She tried to fight Brian Koberger. At 4:20, the coward flees the crime scene.
Let me know if you want to wrench Luis. We love Luis Cuevas here. She's awesome. It's always good to see Luis here. That fucking guy was moving. Ah, I gotta see that again. Wow. Yeah, that guy. Wow. That guy was in a hurry, man. I gotta see that again. He's freaking moving. Watch this. I don't know how fast he's going here, but I mean, he's potting it. He is. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't slide into this other side of the road here. Wow. That is too funny.
We now know definitively that that white car that nearly lost control speeding away from the crime scene was driven by Bryan Kohberger. For more than 2 years, he denied it was him through his lawyers. But then last month, a sudden change of heart.
With respect to count 1 burglary felony, how do you plead, Mr. Kohberger, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Prosecutors had planned to use this 3D model of the house on King Road to show jurors the strange layout of the house. The FBI actually built the model. The roof came off, and a witness like Dylan Mortensen would have likely used it to show jurors where her bedroom was located in relation to the others and the kitchen. But now there's no need for the model house.
As to count 2, murder in the first degree as it relates to the murder of Madison Mogen, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 3, as it relates to murder in the first degree for the murder of Kaylee Gonzalez, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 4, the first degree murder of Xana Kernodle, a human being, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 5, the first degree murder of Ethan Chapin, a human being, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Kohberger has finally admitted to killing the students in cold blood.
You've heard the plea agreement that I talked about today. Do you agree with that plea agreement?
Yes.
I mean, what I can take from him flying out of there like that is, I mean, it's possible that, you know, it doesn't seem like it was a very controlled leave like I thought originally. You know, like he kind of knew what he was doing, you know, the whole time. But him flying down the street like that and almost getting into an accident there, that's telling me that something happened in there where he wasn't quite expecting. So he was trying to get out of there as fast as possible. It's just, I have no idea if that's real or not. But that's what I take from that.
And do you understand the nature of the charges that you've been charged with that I understand you're going to plead guilty today to?
Yes.
As I indicated, I'm not bound by the plea agreement, but the plea agreement is for the maximum on each count. Do you understand that I'm not bound by the plea agreement?
Yes.
Has anyone promised you that I would be lenient or easy on you if you pled guilty?
No.
Has anyone threatened you or anyone close to you to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Has anyone other than the state's agreements with respect to the plea agreement, has anyone promised you anything in exchange for your plea agreement?
No.
Has anyone told you to be untruthful in answering my question?
Look, when you're getting stabbed like that, you're probably going to move around a little. I mean, in my opinion, I think almost everybody in that house was either drunk or halfway into the bag. And I'm pretty sure that Ethan was probably knocked out. I mean, he's probably out like a light, but you start getting stabbed like that, man.
Questions today?
No.
Has anyone offered you a reward of any kind other than the plea agreement in order to get you to plead guilty today?
No.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
All right, we've seen this.
Before being taken to prison, families of the victims told Koberger exactly what they thought of him.
I won't stand here and give you what you want.
Your thoughts as a death penalty prosecutor on watching this video and watching the white Elantra. Bryan Kohberger now admits it was me, just circling that crime scene, circling and circling. It's like a vulture circling around prey.
That's a good analogy. I have prosecuted murder cases and I've worked on public records cases, and I've also been the one who has to redact records that get released to the press. So this is an interesting perspective for me to talk about. There's a sinister feeling to watching this. We know what's about to happen, and it does feel like a vulture circling a prey or a shark circling a victim. And, you know, obviously it's late at night. It just makes it feel creepier. And then there was the release of the crime scene photos that some of which were blurred, but we have a real sense of what it looked like outside as he was building up the nerve to commit this crime that he probably had been fantasizing about in his head for days, weeks, or months, and then what it looked like inside to be actually there and know that that's what the crime scene looked like to him, and the last images of his victims.
It's just horrifying. 200 of these crime scene photos were released to KTVB TV in Boise. The Idaho news outlets are getting these records faster because of the public records laws.
I agree with that, Miranda. I think she did a wonderful job, but I don't think he cares. I just don't.
Idaho residents get a response more quickly within 3 working days. Out-of-state residents, 21 working days, just to put that out there. It's so sad, though. I mean, they didn't publish all of the crime scene photos because they're very graphic, even in their redacted.
I mean, in my opinion, it's very equivalent to like that 15 minutes of fame, right? Like this was his 15 minutes of fame. That's about all he cares about.
Nature. But you really get a sense of these were kids in a college house who went to bed. We already knew these things, but you're seeing it. They went to bed and never woke up because somebody went into their house and stole their lives. I mean, it's really hitting you in the gut how horrific and disgusting this is.
Yeah, we send our kids off to college knowing that this is their last chance to learn about life before they have to start their adult career and their life. And so if you were casting a movie and you had to create a set for what a college house might look like, you take the red cups and put them on the ground. You take cases of beer and put them down on the ground, and you'd have stuff all messy. This is exactly what it looked like. So it's we all have been in houses like this.
I'll tell you what, like I said before about this house here, if you were going to rob a house in this neighborhood, this is the perfect house to rob. I mean, you got perfect cover here. Nobody would ever see you going up onto this deck and coming in this house. That's just my opinion.
This, and that's what some people live like. Good on them. That's what they're supposed to do when they're kids. But it is a reminder that this innocence was stolen by this personification of evil, circling, fantasizing, slipping in, and then committing these heinous murders.
You know, that point that Barbara just made here is not Barbara, Paul. The fact the prosecution probably didn't want to come out was the fact that he was a heroin addict. I mean, you never know, man. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely heinous. I mean, it's just beyond belief. Could you tell me, Mark, let's go back to that video. You look at this video and they weren't able to definitively identify the vehicle from that portion of the video. They used other pieces of video to identify the vehicle, but it still establishes a clear timeline in the crime. How valuable is that piece of video?
When you're building a complex case, when you don't have a confession, when you don't have solid DNA evidence, we had some DNA evidence here, but we don't have just absolutely solid DNA evidence. Jurors want to see that the prosecution has done their homework. So when I prosecute cases, I always use power.
Like I said, I've seen thousands, at least, cases in my life, especially when it comes to, criminal cases like homicide cases. And you never know what's going to happen in a trial. You never know what's going to happen with a jury. You never know how the prosecutors are going to perform. You don't know how good the defense is going to perform. So trials are not guaranteed, man. They're not. Guilty verdicts are not guaranteed. I've seen cases with very little evidence at all get guilty verdicts, and I've seen cases that have, a tremendous amount of what you would consider pretty much rock solid evidence, man. People walk. So you just never know. You just don't.
PowerPoint, I always put visuals up. Sometimes I'll do a timeline. Sometimes I'll connect the dots. It shows a professional prosecution. It gives jurors who might have some reasonable doubt.
Nicole's here? Where's Nicole? Oh, there you are. Good to see you, Nicole. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. Nicole's amazing.
Out in the back of their head, a way to quell that reasonable doubt and say, you know what, this is a professionally prepared case. They have this.
Like the Alex Murdaugh case, perfect example. If he doesn't take the stand, there's a possibility that's a deadlocked trial. I don't know who wanted him to go and get on the stand, but that was a bad idea, period. I mean, I personally think he's guilty, but if he doesn't go take the stand in defense, I could see a couple of jurors saying, "No, I don't think he did it."
This touch DNA on the sheath of the knife. They have all these other pieces of the puzzle, but the timeline is the one that brings all the individual pieces together.
The timeline is very important here because it goes up, it kind of lines up with the surviving room DM and her story. And then you have her text
Nicole's awesome. It's always good to see Nicole in here.
messages. So it is a circumstantial case, or at least it was a circumstantial case. But I think that video is very important because you take the DoorDash driver that you can see in it, she drops off the food, and you couple that with Dylan's testimony, her account of what happened, and her cell phone records. And you have a very clear picture, a narrative of what happened in that house.
Yeah, every case I prosecute now, we're using digital evidence. There's more doorbell cameras, there's more security cameras, there's texts, there's geolocation. And when the DoorDash driver took that photo, we have the metadata from her photo, so know exactly when she dropped the food off. And jurors are coming to expect this. It makes you wonder how cases like this were solved and proved 75 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There were murders, there were heinous knife murders of young people 75 years ago, and those prosecutors didn't have the evidence we have now. And juries come to expect that. And it used to be called the CSI effect. Jurors want to
just think 6 to 7%. And I think there's some studies out there that say it's more likely 6 to 8%, maybe even 9%. Of all cases prosecuted, 6 to 7 to 8% of those are all technically false convictions.
have all the science to prove things. Sometimes in my prosecutions, I don't have scientific data. I just have good old-fashioned eyewitness data and other things. And we have to explain to the jurors, sometimes we have science, sometimes we don't. In this case,
they know now. I think like 100. Is it 100 people? I'd have to do some more research, but maybe it's not that high. Maybe it's like 15 or 20. I forget the number. But there's been a lot when you consider the amount of cases, amount of death penalty cases, people who have actually gone to the chair who were actually innocent.
case, we had some pretty good science.
I want to go back to what you brought up before about the DNA, how they had the DNA on the snap of the knife sheath, but that was the only DNA they had of Bryan Kohberger in that house. It's a powerful piece of evidence when you couple it with everything else. But at the same time, you never know how something is going to be attacked at trial and how it's going to unfold at trial and how a juror or jurors are going to perceive that
That's
once
exactly what I just said.
it comes out on the stand. Do you think, the prosecution could have?
And that's why I said what I said, that night I was on Dirty Diana's channel with the asshat there. I just think the defense did a terrible job in that case. The defense, all I heard the entire time during that, time the defense was on that case, how great they were and how, awesome they were as lawyers. And, that defense did a terrible job. They did a freaking awful job, man. That's just my opinion. And I know they were kind of hampered by a lot of the rulings, but the defense, they don't get very rarely do the defense get any motions approved by the judge. It just never happens. So, but they did a terrible job defending Richard Allen. It was just terrible.
Have been a little nervous about all of this, especially with no connection to the victims. They said that they talked about everything they didn't have in this case when accepting this plea. Do you think they were a little nervous and that's why they were so?
They spent 3 days on the confessions in the, how bad he was treated in prison and stuff like that. That was a mistake. The jury didn't even care about those things. They didn't even care about that. They asked the one juror there if the confessions meant anything. They didn't. And they spent 3 fucking days doing that. It was just awful. You got to attack the timeline and the credibility of the witnesses. Defensive attorneys that do that are usually highly successful, man. They did none of that.
Quick, boom, to accept that plea and say, sign on the dotted line, we'll take it, without maybe saying, you know what, Ann Taylor, we're going to need him to sit down and answer a few questions, and then we'll consider striking the death penalty.
That's a good theory. I think 24 years ago when I tried my first jury trial, I was very confident in my evidence, and young prosecutors who are starting out are very confident in their evidence. The more jury trials you prosecute, the more you realize that jurors are like everybody else. Some of them are odd. Some of them are hard to persuade. Some of them don't understand science. Maybe they didn't take chemistry in high school or college. Some of them reject modern notions of science. And all you need is one juror. Just one juror could either hang the jury, meaning you'd have to start the trial all over again months later, or one juror on the death penalty phase to say, yeah, he did it, but I don't really like the evidence. I'm not going to vote for the death penalty. And then we're back to life in prison. So it's hard to get a death penalty prosecution when you don't have a confession or rock solid DNA evidence. The kind of DNA evidence they found is a newer process that we've only been using in the last few years. And you just never know if there's not one juror who's in their mind saying, nah, I don't think this is right. There's something missing here in the science.
Bill Thompson had said, during the press conference,
it's not this guy's fault. I mean, he's just a prosecutor. He works for the state. I mean, he's a paid employee just like everybody else. And he was told, we don't have the money for this, man. Take the deal. Let's make a deal. Take the deal. His superiors, he's got superiors too.
He kind of would say would be true, even if we did talk to him. He was ready to plead guilty. He was ready to say, I did it.
Where's Cromley? He's booking a new schedule, so he hasn't been able to come on. Yeah, we miss We miss Cromley for sure. He's awesome. We didn't get off to a good start, but he's a good guy. I like Cromley. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's obvious, but the jury was looking for something. They sure were. They just didn't, they just didn't do a good enough job.
So, I look at it as a lot of times these killers, they don't tell you the whole truth, but they tell you enough to get a clear picture. And
the first question I would have asked if I was a defense lawyer, I would have asked it to Betsy Blair is guy you saw in this courtroom.
Give you something that really seals it and corroborates everything and ties it together. Do you think that would have been worth it to still sit down with him and have him answer a few questions, even if you thought maybe he'd be lying about some of it?
Yeah, I think so. You and I have been on the air, I don't know, 8, 10, 12 times on this case over the last few years.
All right. So they're not really talking about anything right now. So I'm going to get out of this. I do want to play a couple more things, quick things, and then get out of here. Good news in New Hampshire, anyways, because I don't think they've ever had here a actual cold case unit that works specifically on, I know some states have 2 or 3 divisions that are basically cold case unit divisions. So they now have that here. That's good news because there's a lot of cases here in New Hampshire that people are looking for answers to. And it's good to know that they're going to have a specifically designated cold case unit with 2 or 3 people who are specific to that. And let's hope they do that and they don't take that money that's been allotted for that and say, we're doing this, but yet not do it. You know what I mean? So the state budget expands New Hampshire's cold case unit. The Attorney General's office said the expansion sends a clear message to the victims. So here we go.
Waiting for 21 years.
Mara Murray's case is one of 120.
We've been waiting for.
So this is Julie Murray, her sister. Mara Murray is one of the cases here, but there's a lot of cold cases here in this state for sure.
21 years.
Mara Murray's case is one of 129 cold cases in the Granite State. She vanished after a car crash in 2004. Her sister, Julie Murray, has been pushing for answers ever since.
They've assured me that her case is being worked on, weekly.
Julie says she and other families with the New Hampshire Coalition for the Missing and Murdered are offering cautious praise about the expansion of the state's cold case unit.
We think it's a positive step, but we're going to have to wait to see.
The AG's office is doubling its cold case resources, adding 2 full-time investigators focused solely on solving decades-old murders.
It allows us to do more good, to answer questions that have been lingering for, in some cases, decades.
A cold case homicide is a murder that's gone unsolved for more than 5 years and is no longer actively investigated due to a lack of leads.
What we try to look for when we're looking at these cases now is maybe what's changed.
Assistant Attorney General Rachel Harrington has been part of the cold case unit since 2019 and says these added resources are meaningful, especially for families who've waited for answers.
So there's that extra level of responsibility that we know we have to them.
It's kind of like a branch of Massachusetts sometimes, yeah.
And a sort of trust that they have to put in us.
Julie and other families are hosting an event at the State House next week to raise awareness about cold cases. You can find more information about that event on our website, WMUR.com. Reporting live in Concord tonight, I'm Mike Moses, WMUR News 9.
All right. So that's good news. This will be the last one tonight. I did want to do this here because this came up on my alerts here. This is a DNA identity case that's kind of been re-energized here. So for 53 years, the identity of a little boy found unalived in Fairfax County has been unknown until now. So the DNA helps Fairfax police identify a 4-year-old boy that was killed in 1992. And this is coming out of Washington here. So this is good news. And I think they arrested somebody the very next day. I'm not sure.
Identity has been a mystery until now. Thanks to the work of cold case detectives and sophisticated DNA technology, the child has been identified as 4-year-old Carl Matthew Bryant.
As Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Julie Carey reports, police now believe his infant brother was killed as well.
Under the old Colchester Road Bridge in what's now called Giles Creek, this is where the little boy's body was found. This photo shows Fairfax County Police at the scene back in June of 1972. They tried for decades to identify the child, to match him with missing children. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children creating this image in 2004. Still, the mystery continued until now.
But now we knock on the door of genetic genealogy.
Long before DNA was used to solve crimes, the original detective kept a sample of the child's hair. Fast forward 5 decades.
Can you believe that? Like, why would somebody preserve that? It's just crucial in these cases that cops have done that. It's weird.
Fairfax cold case detectives took that sample to a company called Estrella Forensics in California. They developed a DNA profile that could be used for genetic genealogy.
So the lab, Estrella in California, had said that normally they require at least 2 centimeters of hair to do testing. And I said, well, I don't know if I even have 2 millimeters of hair to send you. And they said, well, send it anyway. We'll see what we can do. And they were able to develop a profile.
Detectives identified a possible relative of the boys. That led them to Philadelphia. Working with police there, they discovered a woman named Vera Bryant had 2 sons, Carl and James. She traveled with her partner, James Hedgepeth, to Virginia in 1972. The boys never returned. Vera never reconnected with family in Philly.
They didn't even know to ask about the kids because Vera didn't let them know that she was back. So that family tie had been broken at that point.
The couple no longer alive, so Vera's body was exhumed, her DNA confirming the victim was her son, Carl Matthew Bryant. Police also believe infant James was
Isn't that weird? Isn't that awesome? That's just like amazing.
Killed, his body dumped someplace along the route.
We believe that both boys may have been murdered on June 13th, 1972, between Pennsylvania and Virginia.
At the press conference, Carl's cousin standing alongside police, his aunt in the audience. They found it too difficult to take questions, but the detective telling us why this case was so important to her.
I have my own son, and I think most of us are parents here, and to see the extent of that boy's injuries and what he had suffered through, I'm happy to be here today announcing that at least we've identified him.
Thanks to a charitable group, the little boy did get a proper burial those many years ago at the cemetery in Fort Hunt. But in 2012, a derecho washed the marker away. Now, Fairfax County Police hoping to put a bench here and to engrave on it the little boy's.
Agreed. And that's why a fingerprint is so much better.
Actual name, Carl Matthew Bryant. In Fairfax County, I'm Julie Carey, News 4.
So much time has passed. Police still don't know the identity of Carl's father. The father of his infant half-brother, James, has been notified about his child's death.
All right. So that's it. That's what we're going to do. That's what we did. We'll reconvene next week. I want to thank everybody for coming in. You guys are all awesome. Charles, good to see you. Heather Brown, you're amazing. I hope you have a good week. Happy birthday. I'll see you guys probably tonight later on. Shibby, you're amazing. You're awesome. Thanks for coming in. Always appreciate you being here. I don't know how you got a computer in Canada, but Dino, always good to see Dino in here. I know he's not here right now, but just tell us where you put the bodies, buddy, and we'll be fine. Nicole Watt, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. You're awesome. Always good to see Nicole Watt here. Dirty Diana, thank you so much. I'll see you guys later tonight. Dirty Diana's awesome. You've got a great channel. Awesome lives. Peggy O, thank you so much for coming in. It's always good to see you. Always good. Gretchen, thank you so much for coming in. Gretchen was here too. Always good to see Gretchen here. Miranda, you're awesome. I hope you're feeling good. I hope things are going well. I know that Southern Gal was in here. Southern Gal is awesome. Southern Gal's got an amazing channel. For those who aren't subscribed out there, please go over there and subscribe to Southern Gal. She's great. Does great work. She's arguably one of the greatest content creators that I know of. Who else was in here? I know Electric Mirror Cat was in here. Thanks for coming in, buddy. Let's see here. Paula, thank you so much. Paula's a rock. She's awesome. Farq, thank you. It was good to see you, Farq. I hope you're well. Sorry to hear about your family member there, a best friend. I think it was a best friend, right? I can't remember shit syndrome, so pardon me. I know that Luis Cuevas was in here. Good to see Luis Cuevas. Tracy, it's always good to see Tracy in here. Hope you have a better time at the betting table next time. See who else was in here. Fur Baby Daddy, thank you so much for coming in. Who else? I haven't seen Charlotte for a while. I hope she's okay. Charlotte's amazing. It's always good to see her in here, but I haven't seen her in here for a while. Amy G was in here. Amy G's awesome. She's got a great channel. Rhonda, thank you, Rhonda Holton, for coming in. Appreciate it. It's always good to see newer people in here. We try to do the best we can in here. My wife was in here. Thank you for coming in. Another Heather. Let's see here. I'm not going to be able to get to everybody. I'm scrolling up as much as I possibly can here. Big Fish was in here. Big Fish is awesome. Seems to come and go in here. They're here and then they're gone, and then they're here and they're gone. Let's see here. I haven't seen JC Ann around for a while either. I get worried about you guys when I don't see you around for a while. All right, I think that's going to do it. If I miss anybody, I'm sorry. You're going to go live too? Okay, good. Best friend for over 30 years. Oh, that sucks. Oh, sorry about that. That's terrible. But all the people who watch on the replays, I know there's a lot of people who watch on the replays, so I want to say thanks to everybody that does that. If I missed anybody signing out of here, I apologize for that. So let me play an outro and I'll get the hell out of here. You guys have a safe week. Whatever you do, don't die. And I'm pretty sure I'll see most of you guys around on the other channels. Heather, you're amazing. Always here for you. You're an amazing person, Heather Brown. I hope you have a good week and a good birthday. All right, so let me stop babbling. I'll get the hell out of here. We'll do this one on the way out. So right here. Have a good week, everybody. See you soon.